Best ball breakfast. Week 1 of the preseason is in the books. We got some takeaways to talk about, and we're going to do a bunch of drafts. We're going to have some solo drafts. Then we're going to have Mike Leone and Pat Kerrane, and our special guest today, Fantasy Life's Ian Hartitz, joining for a breakfast/brunch-filled day of Best Ball Mania drafts as we chase that $2 million top prize. I'm Pete Overzet. Let's do it.
It really isn't that hard, guys. You just go top 2, win it, win it. Okay, I think we can be done here at running back. You only have 3 running backs. This roster is littered with game theory, arbitrage, exploits, and theoretic reasoning. Bro, light mode, my eyes, dude. I don't know. I prefer that move more in a time box contest. Bro, have you ever scrolled so far down that, there's no more names, bro? Don't do drugs, kids. Draft and drive instead. You can't have it both ways, dude. Quid pro quo.
All right, we're off to the races here. First draft of the day, Influencer 101. If that doesn't set us up for a wonderful day of drafting, I don't know what will. How are we doing this morning in the chat? GMs, good morning. What's up, Frankie, Chris? We got Greg in the chat. What a weekend of preseason. Yep, I got my notes up here. You know, I got to follow along a decent bit on Twitter, seeing what you guys were saying in Discord. Dwayne has an awesome article up on Fantasy Life, preseason news and utilization takeaways. I'll drop that in the chat, completely free. He goes through every team, snap counts, what stuff he finds actionable, what stuff is noise, all kinds of good stuff there. Even the advanced, targets per route run for every snap of the preseason. Highly recommend it. And I'm sure we're going to be referencing it throughout the duration of the stream, but I'll throw it to you guys. What piece of preseason news, week 1 preseason or usage was the most interesting to you? And I guess by most interesting, I mean, are there any things you guys are doing differently because of week 1 of the preseason? Obviously, we're seeing stuff like Trevion Henderson rocket up draft boards. I mean, that him housing a kick return or whatever was just the absolute worst thing that could happen to his ADP. Yes, we know Trevion Henderson is explosive. Yes, we know the Patriots drafted him to specifically make plays like that. And now we're going to have to pay a fucking preseason tax on him returning a kick to the house. That's so unfortunate. Ben says, Will Shipley to the moon? Hell yeah, man. I was trying on Ship Chasing the other day. Davis and Pat were trying to convince me Brashard Smith is a better pick than Will Shipley. Sometimes you just got to let the slappy slap it up, but there's no fucking way, man. Will Shipley is a smash. Oh, I did see this clip as well. Juan says, how far does Lamb drop after getting tackled by a referee? Was he okay? At the very least, it looked like he might have gotten the wind knocked out of him or something. That did not look pleasant there for CeeDee Lamb. I hope he is okay there. RJ Harvey, yeah, that was a big one as well. I think most people, myself included, figured, this is going to be a little slow start. Peyton's going to defer to the veteran, J.K. Dobbins there. He dominated the backfield work. You can see here, 67% of the snaps there with the first team, 100% of the rushing attempts, was ahead of Dobbins in routes, targets per route run. Really, really encouraging usage for RJ Harvey right out of the gate. I'm thinking back to the team that I drafted with Kyle last week on Best Ball Breakfast. We started 4 straight receivers and then double tapped RJ Harvey and Trevion Henderson at the 5-6 turn. You're not going to be able to do that anymore. Those days are long gone. Jaden Reed in a boot. Yes, this is a very unfortunate development there. Jaden Reed. And Tyjae Spears, apparently a pretty bad ankle sprain as well. Not stoked about that. BB Meat Gazer can't stop thinking about Rachaad White's groin. Christopher says Tyquan Thornton part of the KC first team offense. Yeah. As someone who has touched the hot stove that is Tyquan Thornton, I do not believe I'm going to be going back to that well. I would prefer to just throw a dart on Jalen Royals than dealing with that. All right, we're back on the clock here. We could do Trey McBride. Trey McBride and Josh Jacobs, I think look good here. Been wanting to get a little more Jacobs at 7.9% here. Let's go ahead and grab Josh Jacobs as our anchor running back to pair with Jamar Chase. And then people do forget, we talk about a lot of things. People do forget Trey McBride does play the Cincinnati Bengals in week 17. So we can pull the trigger there. Catching up on some of your guys's other notes. Bryce Young looking awesome. Yeah, I saw my guy Ted Arroyo having a nice catch. Justin Fields rushing for that touchdown. That was cool. My guy Zach is trying to not auto jam Breece at cost anymore. Yeah, the usage there, all indications point to pretty split backfield. Here was Dwayne's notes. Breece Hall led the way with a 50% snap share and 75% attempt share, but his 33% route participation was lower than historical rates. His conclusion is Hall dominated the opportunities and left the field with the starters, while Allen and Davis continued on until halftime. I'm going to slightly bump Hall down my ranks given the rotation, but I want to stress that this is all a solid role, and he is the back most equipped to handle an every down role. Hall is my RB15. So, I think the reactions that I saw were maybe even a little more bearish than what this usage actually indicates. But if he is seeding some of that pass down work and the Jets just aren't an offense that is in the red zone a ton, he's probably slightly overpriced at the 3-4 turn. Let's see, what else do we got here? Burden played behind Devin Duvernay and Tyler Scott. Yeah, not ideal, but also not necessarily unexpected, right? Just with him missing so much of the offseason program, makes sense that they're going to start him, buried on the depth chart. Maybe that's just cope for someone who loves clicking Luther Burden. But the rookie ones, to me, isn't as much of a death sentence with the depth chart stuff. Because of just the general veteran deference we get in a lot of these spots. I still can't believe you were in a home league. I think I mentioned this on the Swolecast. Yeah, that my two old school home leagues, my high school league disbanded a couple years ago. No one wanted to manage it. And then I was in this really cool league where they were doing the live draft every year, and every one of them was a group of friends. I was the outsider in this home league. There were all these Buffalo Bills fans. They all went to high school together. And I went to the live draft a couple years. And then with how busy I got at the start of the season, I couldn't make it. And they're like, hey, we have this other buddy who we're all friends with who'd really like to go to these live draft weekends with us. Would you want to co-manage with him or have the team? I'm like, just give him the team. Just give him the team. He can have it. So yeah, I'm just a loser, a fantasy football loser with no friends to draft with. I draft with you guys. You are my internet friends, my ship chasing friends. But the guillotine leagues will be my equivalent of home leagues these days. Tesla, that was a good one. Yeah, I heard he was looking good. Let's see here. Yeah, he played 100% of the pass plays with Hooker, notching a 20% target share. He also caught a TD in the second quarter. And the Lions traded up 3 third-round picks to move up to number 70 in round 3 to secure him. So still probably more of a dart throw there, but certainly feeling better about grabbing him in stacks with Goff. Pat Bryant, yep, I heard this wasn't a great look for him. I'm hearing a little bit of excitement, Jay says here, from Malik Washington. If the Tyreek Hill stuff continues to go south, which it feels like a pretty combustible situation. All right, we are back on the clock here. One thing, I was very light on Rashee Rice early, was not taking him in the second round. I think I'm good getting some shares of him here at the 4-5 turn. So let's go ahead and grab a Rashee Rice share. I don't really know what's going on with this shit. When is the suspension going to get announced? When is it going to happen here? 2 week 10 bye guys there. Let's see here. We could do DJ Moore. We could do Devontae Smith. We could do James Cook. Why is James Cook falling? Let's go ahead and grab James Cook here. I'm pretty light on him. He's kind of hard to get at the 4-5 turn. So we'll grab him with Josh Jacobs. So the team so far, 2 running backs, Josh Jacobs and James Cook, 2 wide receivers, Ja'Marr Chase and Rashee Rice, and then Trey McBride at tight end there for the start. Dustin says, is your promo code only for new users? Haven't played on Underdog in a couple years. Yeah, that deposit match is only for new users. The promo code Pete will get you up to $1,000 deposit match, and then also some pick'em specials. They have occasionally this summer done some deposit matches, a little filler up Friday. I have no inside information if any of those would be coming down the pipeline, but if you are on the fence, you could maybe try to wait for one of those deposit matches for existing users. But again, no idea if it's coming. Typically when they do come, it is on a Friday. Need a new contest on Underdog, Pete's home league. Exactly. Josh says, I can't stop drafting Pats players. They just fall at the right spot for me in every draft. That's put that on Pat Kerrane's tombstone. I can't stop drafting Pats players. The ADPs don't matter. They just happen to keep falling to me. It's Mookie says, I've been surprised Pat Bryant's ADP has held up. He feels pretty live to be a 0. I agree with you about the ADP part. Maybe I'm just being stubborn there. But the way, the Mims stuff was pretty encouraging here. Played a near full-time role with the starters, garnering an 82% route participation, retired to the sideline with the starters after 3 drives. I guess my thought on both Bryant and all of these Denver wide receivers is I think it's completely wide open right now. Like, I truly think in Sean Payton's heart of hearts, he doesn't know what he's going to do. I think we're going to see a lot of Devon Bailey out there early, but I am not convinced that that is going to be how it shakes out for the entire year. Cortland Sutton to me is kind of the one for sure thing, but looking at this preseason usage, obviously the Marvin Mims stuff was bullish, but he's also been expensive all year. So I don't know how much we can act on that. The Troy Franklin to me is the most interesting one here. Worked as the number 3 option with a 64% route participation and tied Sutton with a 30% target share. So to your point, Mookie, I have to stop clicking Pat Bryant at this point. And when you consider the fact that Troy Franklin is also young, Troy Franklin was one of the youngest rookies in the league last year as well, along with Keon Coleman and Xavier Worthy. So on top of that, if he's playing ahead of Pat Bryant and hasn't been drafted in 100% of BBM drafts like Pat Bryant, I think it's a no-brainer switch to flip your exposures from Pat Bryant to Troy Franklin. I think that's a good shout out here. All right, Joe Burrow goes, so we're not going to get Burrow with Chase. The Higgins drafter went ahead and pulled the trigger. Let's see. Did Matthew Golden went? Okay, so the days of getting Matthew Golden in the 7th round are about over, and Igbuka goes. Okay, all right. That's the reality we're living in now. That is the reality we're living in. Can this team survive a Jordan Addison here? Let's grab Pacheco. He's a guy I've been trying to get more of. Of all these running backs in this range, 9% Montgomery, 6% Swift, only 2% Pacheco. That feels bad. We're going to start boosting our Pacheco. I really want to click Jordan Addison here. He's a guy I want to keep boosting. I just don't know if a team with Rashee Rice, if I'm just putting myself behind the 8 ball too much with 2 suspension guys. So I'm going to grab Jerry Jeudy slightly behind ADP. But man, life comes at you fast. Igbuka and Matthew Golden off the board at pick 69 and 71. And we start Ja'Marr Chase, Josh Jacobs, Trey McBride, Rashee Rice, James Cook, Isaiah Pacheco, and Jerry Jeudy. Benny says, are we past the point of being able to enter slows that won't get sped up? Yes, I believe the tail end of your slow drafts, based on some of the calculations that Michael Dubner and John Boy Beats were doing. There you go, John Boy. There's your source. There's your credit. Last week, Michael Dubner had a quote retweet of John Boy talking about the same thing, and I missed that John Boy was the originator of this discourse. So we got it. Trust me, I've seen what happens in best ball Twitter. If you don't source correctly, you might get a diss track made about you. So let it be clear that both John Boy Beats and Michael Dubner did the math, and they said the date you wanted to get in all your slow drafts to ensure that you didn't end up with sped up clocks was last week. So yeah, the majority of it will probably be fine. But yeah, the end of year slow drafts right now might get sped up. All right, catching up on the chat. RM Covers talking about Sean Tucker. Definitely see him now on the late round menu with this Rachaad White injury. What's going on with the Jags backfield? Yeah, that's a fun one. ETN's usage was pretty good. I believe the Cope spin is that they're showcasing Travis Etienne for a trade, but he played 100% of the snaps with Trevor Lawrence. He handled 67% of the attempts and notched a 14% target share on 88% route participation. Tank Bigsby didn't play with Lawrence. Bashal Tutin took over for Bigsby in the second quarter. Tutin right now, of course, behind Etienne and Bigsby, but he still offers the sort of traits that could make him a late season breakout. Honestly, to me, the backfield is the same as it always was. It's a three-way timeshare where I think there's going to be one, if not two, pretty big winners here relative to their ADP, and I want to continue clicking all of them. I know that is the centrist position there. I still think Bashal Tutin is going to be the best cost-adjusted pick for these Best Ball Mania tournaments, but I'm in my eliminator slows, and I'm targeting both ETN and Bigsby. I think they have the potential to help those teams get off to fast starts. All right, after this turn, I'm pouring some coffee. We have 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, Josh Jacobs, James Cook, and Isaiah Pacheco. We have Jamar Chase, Rashee Rice, and Jerry Jeudy, and then Trey McBride at tight end. How is Golden's utilization? I believe it was awesome. Yeah, notched 100% route participation and 20% target share, remained on the field in 2 wide receiver sets, like literally everything you could want here. All right, Tyrone Tracy has been a guy I've been trying to load up on, and I also need some more wide receiver help. There's a lot of picks I like in this range. I think these are the 2 best picks for me here. Tyrone Tracy as my running back 4, and Cooper Kupp as my wide receiver 4. Blizzy says, Pete, we know you famously had 0 slows this time last month. How many are you currently in? Thank you for asking. Let's go see. It's at least 75 because that's how many eliminator drafts are. There were some Chow Chows in there, some Huskies. I'm still scrolling. I'm miserable. Yeah. So I have entered the slow draft matrix. Honestly, it's going fine so far. I've set up 3 calendar notifications throughout the day, and I'm banging them out when I can. But I'm not saying I'm having the time of my life. Crutches says, why is the best 1-1 start Chase McBride, Devontae? And then you pull up Trevion and Kenneth Walker to the 4-5 turn. That is pretty hot. That is hot. Where did Trevion go in this draft? Wow, Trevion Henderson at 4-8. So look at this. You want to see the preseason effect? Breece Hall went at 4-7 in this draft, 43 overall. Henderson at pick 44. Also, to my audio listeners, you would never know this, but there's a new revamped draft board. It looks incredible. We now have the player photos on there. I know there was a little dust up initially about not having the overall pick number. Those are now back. The board looks great. The 20-second clocks have been hard for the streamers out there. I know you guys have us in your thoughts and prayers, but this board means we're back up. We're back up. Pete, am I worried that Cooper Kupp is not JSN? Yeah, I'm terrified about that. In fact, if Underdog would allow me to change pick 97 from Cooper Kupp to JSN, I would actually love that. I would love that. All right, I need to pour coffee, though. It's time for coffee. It's best ball breakfast. I need it. All right, let's check some price watch here. Look at Schmo. Schmo out of the 9 hole goes Travis Etienne at pick 102, and then comes back and grabs Bigsby at 115. Not only little hand cucking, but some aggressive hand cucking there. Actually, Travis Etienne at 102 is, I guess, right around his ADP. Bigsby, though, 115. Coffee of choice. I drink the Pete's coffee. I know. A little on the nose. The dark roast. I just like it black, dark roast. Although I will say, this weekend, a coffee shop I went into had the Kona coffee, the Hawaiian coffee, and I splurged for that, and that was delicious. All right. We are back on the clock. I don't think this is anything with running backs or wide receivers here. I think this is a quarterback pick. Let's see. I'm just going to grab Caleb Williams here. I did not feel good about that. Let's see. Can we grab... Man, and Colston Loveland's already gone. So what am I even doing here, I guess? And is Burden gone? What is happening to me? I just completely fucked that up. What am I doing? I just had a complete meltdown. Fucking talking about coffee and just made two horrendous picks. I'm so shook. I thought for sure Loveland was still on the board, and I missed it. He went at 111. So I just took a naked Caleb. And I could have taken DJ Moore instead of Rashee Rice. That was why he was in my head. Unbelievable. And I'm expected to do 6 more drafts today. And then at the last second, once I was on tilt there, I just panicked Ramondre. We were just talking about how Trevion Henderson is the buzziest pick in all of fantasy, and I had to take his dusty backfield mate. I should have taken Jordan Love. I'm trying to even think what picks I would have wanted there. I guess it was just setting up a back stack. I think it was just setting up a back stack. I don't even know what I should have done there. I could have taken Mims. Unbelievable. What pick should I have made? What picks? I don't like any of the picks in this range. Like all the guys I normally used to click, can't click Cam Skattebo anymore. He's injured, and I took Tyjae Spears. I can't click, and I took Tyrone Tracy. I can't click Tyjae Spears anymore. He's got a high ankle, and I got a bag of him at more expensive prices. I'm not taking Tre Harris, the wide receiver 9 on the Chargers. I guess I could have just taken my second tight end. Just take Dallas Goedert. Maybe I just take Tootin. Just keep doubling, tripling down. What was I supposed to do? Get rid of this portion of the draft board. I'm going through the 7 stages of grief right now. Anger, frustration. Then I was in denial, coping. I don't know if that's the exact order. Wow. I'm telling you guys, the Influencer 101 isn't all that it's cracked up to be. It's not all that it's cracked up to be. This, and I'm not going to lie, I was planning on doing Drake May there. I was like, all right, I'll set up the classic Drake May. We'll get Hunter Henry. We'll get Demario Douglas. And then boom, he goes at 119. Unbelievable. Then there's this drafter over here, Jay Pissel, taking all my players. Took Burden at 104. Didn't you hear? Burden's playing behind God knows who. He entered the game after Devin Duvernay and Tyler Scott, and we're taking Luther Burden at pick 104. I'm tilting. D. Owen says I'm still clicking Spears a ton. Yeah, I mean, everybody has a price, right? I just think he needs to fall now. And I was drafting him aggressively earlier. He had been the guy that I was kind of pulling up into that vacuum of available picks. They're just kind of that dead zone of ADP from like 100 to 115. All right, let's lock in now. We have a 1-5-4-1. For the audio listeners, I'm tilting because I have naked Caleb Williams. I have Josh Jacobs, James Cook, Isaiah Pacheco, Tyrone Tracy, Ramondre Stevenson, Jamar Chase, Rashee Rice, Jerry Jeudy, Cooper Kupp, and Trey McBride. All right, Demario Douglas goes. This is going to be a wide receiver pick for me, and I'm probably just going to take Jaden Blue because I do love Jaden Blue. He's a guy I've been trying to get more of. We're just jamming running backs on this team. Let's get a wide receiver here, though. We could do Kyle Williams with Ramondre, Joshua Palmer, or Dobbs. Pretty similar correlations here. We can do some Kyle Williams. This team sucks, man. This team's really bad. What am I even going to do at quarterback? This is a Sam Darnold-ass team. This team has Sam Darnold. This is like Sam Darnold and Jackson Dart. Unbelievable. Yeah, can we please distract me from this team and ask me questions like this? Pete, do you buy ground coffee or beans? No, beans for sure. Gotta have the fresh coffee. Can't be doing the ground coffee. Thank you, Tom, for reminding me that I started strong. This team is just like it's probably one of the worst teams I've drafted on stream, and that's saying something. Speaking of redemption on drafts, I want to let you guys know, immediately following Best Ball Breakfast, I have a new video going up on the Deposit Kingdom channel. Very excited for you guys to see this video. The premise was I went and replicated the structures of all of the previous Best Ball Mania champs. So the 5 Best Ball Mania winning teams from BBM 1 through BBM 5, with the goal of trying to see which of those structures actually work in the 2025 landscape, in the 2025 meta. And it was a really interesting exercise, to see, how Justin Herzig's hyperfragile strategy holds up, how Amin's, BBM 4 team that was essentially a full 0 RB team with the triple onesies at quarterback and tight end. So I recreated all of those pick for pick. Like if they took a quarterback in round 10, I took a quarterback in round 10. And some of the teams turned out pretty cool and a pretty fun exercise there to see what stuff still holds up. So check that out on the Deposit Kingdom immediately following Best Ball Breakfast at 2 p.m. Eastern. This is another plug. This week on the randomizer, it's there's levels to this. Davis Maddock is going to host. He is going to play me as the host of the randomizer, and I am going to be the guest playing Davis Maddock. So I will be receiving all the prompts on the wheel. There's a private chat going on. I don't even see any of it. I have it muted, and the tables are going to be turned. So this week, Best Ball Bash at 1 p.m., then a randomizer draft with Davis. It should be pretty fun. I don't want to know what grade Stephanie would give this draft so far. I am scared. All right, let's recap the team just so we can deal with reckon with what kind of shit show we have brewing here. Naked Caleb Williams at quarterback. I like my running backs. Josh Jacobs, James Cook, Isaiah Pacheco, Tyrone Tracy, Ramondre Stevenson, and Jaden Blue. Wide receivers, Jamar Chase, Rashee Rice, Jerry Jeudy, Cooper Kupp, Kyle Williams, and Trey McBride. We're going to pick out 168 and 169. What kind of tight ends are we looking at here? We can push tight end with Trey McBride. We're fine there. This is going to be a wide receiver, and we're going to grab Sam Darnold, and we need a wide receiver here. I think we go Wan'Dale Robinson. We have Tyrone Tracy. This team has fucking Jackson Dart written all over it. Sam Darnold to Cooper Kupp and Wan'Dale Robinson to get us a 6 wide receiver. That turn at least felt a little bit better. I don't want to say slightly back on track. The wheels are still not on the track itself, but we just fixed the alignment and put airs back in the tires. And now we need to get the full team back on the track. Dan is excited about the Guillotine app for Android bros. I am excited about that as well. If you guys missed that, Guillotine's been rolling out their 2025 paid leagues, your home leagues. We did a private league down at the Ship Chasing weekend. They have the iOS app, and they finally serviced us Android bros. You can check that out. I have a link that I reposted, I think, from a Matthew Berry tweet on my timeline there if you want to download that or search for it in the Google Play Store. BB Meatgazer, any chance we can take Lan Larison on the end of this one? You know, taking a tribute player who is not going to play at all this year does seem like a fitting way to land this plane, but no, I don't think I will. I do not think I will. I want to know how much of the preseason did you guys actually watch? Were you guys locked in? Were you just reading Twitter highlights? I need to know. I need to know. Playoff Rondo, what kind of freak uses Android? There are legions of us, dozens of us. Every snap. I'm going to call bullshit on that. I believe somebody who says watched a lot. Every game that was on all 22. Highlights and box scores. That's believable. Okay, Crutches grinding. I will never not assume that Crutches isn't grinding. Watched until they took Shadur out. Thank you, Team Android. Watched replays at 15x speed. All right, we have 3 more picks here. We're about to pick at the turn. What's the you know who I could do here? Who's been rising up that definitely makes sense. Let's talk about Torrey Horton. What's going on with my guy Torrey Horton here? Earned first team reps at practice, started and posted a 95% route participation on the first 4 drives before retiring for the night. On those 4 drives, led the team with target share and had 3 passes for 31 yards and a TD. Let's do some Torrey Horton with Sam Darnold. That actually sounds fun. That sounds fun. And then what do we want to do here? Do we have any tight ends we want to take? Let me get a tight end that I actually like. I'm going to keep clicking Ja'Tavion Sanders. Were there any notes on Sanders? I know Bryce Young looked good. There's so many Sanders. Posted a 71% route participation. That's pretty good. 3rd highest on the team behind only Tedoroya McMillan and Adam Thielen. Higher route participation than Leggett and Coker. Didn't earn any targets, which isn't ideal. But if Bryce Young explodes this year, Ja'Tavion Sanders is going to come along for the ride. So we're now up to a 2-6-7-2, and we'll take a 3rd quarterback to end the draft. Caleb Williams and Sam Darnold, Josh Jacobs, James Cook, Isaiah Pacheco, Tyrone Tracy, Ramondre Stevenson, Jaden Blue, Jamar Chase, Rashee Rice, Jerry Jeudy, Cooper Kupp, Kyle Williams, Wan'Dale Robinson, Torrey Horton, Trey McBride, and Ja'Tavion Sanders. And guess what? I registered for another draft. I did it. I needed to wash the stench of this first draft off with a second draft here before Kerrane joins at 11. So we got the 1-9 in another draft here. I am going to put some players in the queue. We'll put Jackson Dart in here. And Daniel Jones, and God, as an ultimate backup, we'll put Joe Flacco. And then we'll check in on this team in a second. All right, I'm on the clock in my first draft here. My second draft, Malik Neighbors or Puka. We got slightly more Puka. Let's go Malik Neighbors. I'm slightly above weight on both of them. 10.9%. Neighbors, 11.9%. Puka. Continue to draft those guys when given the opportunity here. Oh no, Steph says, I don't know if I have to grade this. I think we all know Pete has to do better. I believe you learned lessons. No excuses, just do it. Hey, it's fair. It's tough, but fair. Sometimes I need a wake-up call. You know, I didn't do a lot of drafting over the weekend. It's time to lock in. Let's lock in. Let's lock in. Who am I light on here? AJ Brown's falling a little bit. Always love taking Brock. Let's do Drake London though. 10.9%. I think are we getting slightly cheaper? AJ Brown, I guess he already returned to practice, so maybe I should have just taken Brown. I feel a little light on AJ Brown right now, truthfully. 6%, that doesn't feel great. But I add Drake London there. I've been liking to get some more Michael Penix, so that should help me there. And we're about to land the plane in this draft. Jake says, Pete saying he wants to max the eliminator since May and joining 75 slows last week equals me telling my wife I'll paint the downstairs before football starts and opening a can of flat white this weekend. I hate how accurate that is. Jackson Dart, come on down. Jackson Dart looked pretty good. You got to give him that. He looked pretty good. Let me do a quick recap of my 104th team, and then we will get back to focusing on my 105th Best Ball Mania team here. This was one that I don't really want to ever talk about again. So after this, pretend like it never happened. Caleb Williams, Sam Darnold, Jackson Dart, Josh Jacobs, James Cook, Isaiah Pacheco, Tyrone Tracy, Ramondre Stevenson, Jaden Blue, Jamar Chase, Rashee Rice, Jerry Jeudy, Cooper Kupp, Kyle Williams, Wan'Dale Robinson, Torrey Horton, Trey McBride, Jatavian Sanders. Just absolute disgusting filth. Just really horrid stuff. Really horrid stuff. 104. The date was 8/11. BBB. Don't discuss is going to be how this is going to be labeled. Don't discuss. All right. We're back though. We're focused. We're locked in. Let me get the draft board up here. And then we can settle in for a better draft. We got Roto Run in here. We got Andrew in here out of the 4-hole. Otherwise, I don't know if I recognize any other names. Pretty badged up. Are we back to drafting Daniel Jones again? You guys need to tell me. I feel like this changes every 4 hours. It's like, okay, we are drafting Anthony Richardson. We're not. I was getting Daniel Jones with the last pick in a couple of drafts. So my guess is that most people are not drafting Daniel Jones just from what I've seen. But again, it seems like what it's always been, that we're going to have ping-ponging back and forth between these guys for most of the season. All right, we are back on the clock. Let's do JSN here. You know what? I had to take Cooper Kupp last draft. Someone was trolling me about Cooper Kupp not being JSN. How about if I just take JSN? Malik Neighbors, Drake London, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Let's get the Piss Boys back. Too many running backs last draft. Let's do it. Let's do it. Index of Suspicion says 560 watching and only 80 likes on the stream. Yeah, guys, remember that the likes aren't for a specific draft. It's for the overall stream. It's for the entertainment. It's for the guests. So don't be stingy with your likes just because I bombed that first draft. Also, if you are new to subscribing here, we are, can I do math on the fly? We are 82 subscribers away from 20K. 82 subscribers away from 20K. That would be very fun. All right, let's do Jaden Daniels. Or do I want Kittle? I was super light on Kittle. Let's get back into like a true little zero RB thing here. I could go Kittle or Daniels. I'm famously light on George Kittle in BBM, only 4%, because everyone I draft with won't ever let me take him. So I got to get him on my own. George Kittle, my 4th round selection. Neighbors, Drake London, JSN, George Kittle. We're trying to win the crowd back. I hate that I know this reference. Mac Nova says, how much Ricky Person do you have? I believe this, if you guys don't know this reference, last night, Ron Stewart, Liam, and Jacob Sanderson were doing an FFPC main event where someone meant to take Ricky Pearsall and accidentally took Ricky Pearson. And then the plot twist is generally in those main events, they'll have a live commissioner who will let you roll those picks back. They didn't allow this user for some reason not to roll the pick back. So they were stuck with Ricky Pearson. And then I believe if I saw the draft board correctly, they just went ahead and drafted Ricky Pearsall the next round anyways. I did not know Ricky Pearson was a player. Who is Ricky Pearson? But if you want to see Ron Stewart draft another main event team, we are kicking off our high stakes drafts on Ship Chasing this week, and Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern on Ship Chasing. Ron Stewart will be joining Jacob, Davis, Pat, and myself to draft an FFPC team. And sure, we'll have a long conversation about Ricky Pearson while we're at it. Ricky Pearson. Ben's getting excited about those streams. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Jacob, Liam, and Ron, they have a great dynamic. Need more coffee. Need to stay focused here. Let's get a couple price checks. Trevion Henderson now goes at the 4-5 turn. Crutches floated in the chat. You go Ken Walker and Trevion Henderson with your Jamar Chase, Trey McBride. And looky what happened here. Ken Walker and Trevion Henderson. We're on the clock, though. Yeah. Okay, we're going RJ Harvey. We're going RJ Harvey here. I thought it'd be fun to do like an extreme 0 RB build here, but Waddle, Flowers, Hunter, none of them come back. So let's just we'll grab RJ Harvey. So RJ Harvey, our first running back in the late 5th, along with Neighbors, Drake London, JSN, and George Kittle. I don't think Ricky Pearson is he in the player pool here? Oh yeah, he is in the player pool. Running back. Doesn't even have a team. Let go by Seattle a year ago. All right. What do we want to do here at 6'4"? I think we can do Connor if he's here. We could also do Jawan Jennings, but I'm trying to chill a little bit on Jawan Jennings. I have a ton of him, and he's now sliding in a lot of drafts. Let's go do James Conner. This part of the draft board isn't super fun either because the wide receivers that come back to pick 81 aren't that great these days. You're looking at like the down. Maybe I can get Addison. You buy the dip on Reed. Ugh. I think like the sweet spot for drafts probably right now, just looking at this portion of the board, is probably the middle spot, like 5 or 6. See if you can get like a Brock Bowers, a Ladder, and AJ coming back. Then you can also get the sweet spot for the wide receiver in the mid-5th, like the Flowers, the Hunter, the Waddle. You can still get one of Golden or Igbuka generally. Igbuka goes at pick 65 here and Golden at 67. I guess that's like a good dynamic to balance out the advantage of having the back-end picks because you're able to get 2 of those top 15, 16 guys. But the one or 2 hole doesn't feel too great right now to me, just on now that we're getting this push up on these rookies. I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. Yeah. And I just in general like the middle slots. It's easier to prepare for runs. It's easier to scoop up fallers. Shorty says 25 BBM drafts left for me to max. Pete, how are you tracking? Yeah, right down here below. This is my 105th. I'm averaging about 10 a week right now. Been getting in 6 to 7 on Best Ball Breakfast. Obviously do one on the Bash. Mix one in here or there on some other streams. But I think I'm going to end up having to do like at least one additional mega stream to bang out like 10 or so. But still on track. Still relatively on track to get all 150 in some kind of recorded fashion. So we have Malik Neighbors, Drake London, JSN, George Kittle came back and grabbed RJ Harvey, James Conner. The wide receivers are flying off the board like hotcakes here. Downs goes, Reed goes, Addison goes. This isn't a fun room. I thought I was having fun at first, and now I feel like I'm no longer having fun. Yeah, we have all of the unexciting names here. Man, no one ever wants David Montgomery. No one wants David Montgomery anymore. I guess I will take David Montgomery. Just here's the saddest. David Montgomery, 8 picks past ADP. I got 8.9%. I laugh every time I see my exposures. These are the exposures of the players I've drafted. RJ Harvey, 7.9%. James Conner, 6.9%. David Montgomery, 8.9%. Malik Neighbors, 10.9%. Drake London, 10.9%. JSN, 8.9%. George Kittle, 4%. I read my exposures and I'm like, do I have one less pick than everybody else? Why are all my exposures over or less than 8%? Wow. Index of suspicion. I don't even know what this is in reference to. You are the creator of your reality. Break your rules and have some fun. I'm trying to have some fun. I'm trying. Well, how about this? Is this fun? I feel like taking Jaden Higgins is fun. We were patient there. We didn't panic at wide receiver when Downs and Reed came off. We grabbed the Montgomery value. Let's grab Jaden Higgins here, who I have, you guess it, 8.9% of. What was the Higgins preseason usage? Jaden Higgins. So yeah, Nico Collins, the slot demon. I almost said it. Dwayne tried to get me, but I remembered. Nico Collins, slot demon, and Dalton Schultz rested. Hey, sneaky bullish for my favorite player in the world, Dalton Schultz. Where was everyone mentioning that to me? Hey, your boy Pete, Dalton Schultz rested. Anyways, Jaden Higgins rotated heavily with other options. Despite Collins, slot demon, and Schultz sitting, he registered a 60% route participation. On a positive note, he left the game after 3 drives, well ahead of many other options that played on the first drive. And then my guy Jalen Knoll, 40% route participation and 20% target share, also left the game after only 3 drives. That's good, indicating that he is ahead of John Mechie and Justin Watson. This depth chart seems highly unsettled. This is per Dwayne, which could make Knoll a massive value. He goes undrafted on many sites. What's my Knoll exposure? Can we get a good number up here? I continue to love clicking Jalen Knoll. I have 14% Knoll. Yeah, let me post the link again. You can find this on FantasyLife. It's on the homepage right here. If you go to FantasyLife, preseason takeaways, Dwayne will be doing this for all of the preseason games. Highly recommend it. All right. Brock Purdy with Kittle, I think, makes some good sense here as our first quarterback. Could also go ETN, but let's get our first quarterback here. We'll go Brock to George Kittle. Jason says Higgins was playing Nico's position, which seems odd that he wouldn't practice where we all think he's going to start. Yeah, but if Nico's out, I mean, someone has to play that position. And I think, Higgins' profile and who he has as a player, I think he can definitely, if Nico got hurt, I definitely think Jaden Higgins would fill that role. And he says, I bet slot demon is the wide receiver in 2 wide receiver sets. Yeah, I think that's the safe bet to start the season for sure. All right, let's see what we're looking at here at 112. Man, there are no discounts in these rooms on Luther Burden. This drafter double taps Luther Burden and Loveland and is going to see if they can push Caleb all the way around, and then Caleb goes immediately after that. I will take ETN here at 112. Okay. Yeah, am I missing anything? Yeah, I think ETN falling after having a really encouraging preseason doesn't make sense to me. Pick 112 for ETN. I mean, I think we can all agree his price was a little frothy after all of the Tank Bigsby practice reports. But then we got another more meaningful data point as far as how he was used in the preseason. So it strikes me that he shouldn't be falling on that. So I will take him at 112. Brock Purdy to George Kittle, RJ Harvey, James Conner, David Montgomery, Travis Etienne at running back, Malik Neighbors, Drake London, JSN, Jaden Higgins at wide receiver, and George Kittle at tight end. That's why I'm confused, Bingo Bongo. Did we not just get confirmation ETN is the guy? It seemed like pretty big confirmation there. And again, like, to me, this is why I do really, I think you want to practice humility with this backfield. We have gotten essentially different head fakes at all portions of the draft season. When they draft Bashal Tutin and their GM, what is it, Gladstone or whatever, and they go out and say, like, we want explosive playmakers in this offense. That's why we drafted Hunter and Bashal Tutin. And then it's like, all right, Tutin time, baby. And then practices roll around and it's like all Bigsby. It's all Bigsby. We're like, new coaching staff. I guess they like Bigsby. All right, Bigsby's the undervalued guy. And then we come out of the preseason and it's all ETN, just like 100% ETN. So to me, there is legit ambiguity here. You can sell me with logical, evidence-based arguments on all three of these guys. I will listen to them. I will hear them. To me, that means I want to be buying these guys at least one in every draft. Like, it is, I don't know if I want to go as far as I did with the Dolphins 2 years ago, where it was one Dolphin in every draft, but it really feels like one Jags running back in every draft at these prices. If we're going to start this at Travis Etienne at pick 112, and then you can get Tutin in the 130s. Is Bigsby still on the board right now? Bigsby's here at 128. One Jag in every draft. Let's just say it. One Jags running back in every draft. The trade stuff, it feels like a little bit of Cope Galaxy branding to me. Sure, is there a chance Breece Hall could get traded? Is there a chance Travis Etienne gets traded? I would put that likelihood low enough that you shouldn't be making draft decisions based on a trade out. All right, do we want to grab Jared Goff here at 129? I think so. He's my best rank, my best ADP, and we have David Montgomery. Maybe we can take Tesla at the end of the draft. Jared Goff. Yeah, so my ETN exposure, I'm right at the field at 8%. Tank Bigsby, I have 4%, trying to get up on him. And then Tutin, I have the big bag of 18%. So I'm definitely trying to get more ETN and Tutin. We now have Brock Purdy and Goff at quarterback, RJ Harvey, James Conner, David Montgomery, Travis Etienne at running back, Neighbors, London, JSN, Higgins at wide receiver, Kittle at tight end. This one's feeling a little bit better. And there we go. The other two Jags go off the board there at 11-10 and 11-11. Bigsby, Tutin back to back. We could go the third quarterback here with Stroud. Go Stroud with Higgins. I kind of like that. Dylan Sampson is also in play for me here. I think we do Stroud. I mean, I'm going to need to build out the rest of this wide receiver room. So that would be nice. I think you could make a case for Mims too. Mims falling. This is so funny. It's like Mims has this killer preseason opener. Again, kind of like the ETN thing, like an eye-opening level of usage relative to what we thought his role was going to be. And he's sliding. ADP of 127, and he's on the board here. He finally comes off at 137. Maybe I should have just taken Mims there. I started to fall in love with the idea of my 3 stacks. Early on, I drafted a couple of rosters with all three of them. This is two mules and a cart talking about the Jags backfield. Stupid or wise? I mean, I guess at the costs at the time, it's not. I would say this in BBM style contests, in the large field puppies, I would not be taking 3 from a backfield. I'm not opposed to 2 from a backfield, specifically if they're both really cheap. Like if you were getting, Bigsby at 170 or 160 and you're getting Tootin at, 130, that doesn't strike me as bad. But at a certain point, you're trying to win $2 million against hundreds of thousands of users and having 3 spots tied up. You're basically saying in each of the money weeks, 15, 16, 17, 2 of the players I'm just burning, because it's probably unlikely that 2 of 3 Jags running backs in the money weeks are hitting your lineup. So I don't want to be competing against really good teams in week 15, 16, 17 pods with essentially 16 roster spots versus their 18. That would be kind of my case against going with all 3. All right, so we do add CJ Stroud there. I'm kind of kicking myself. I don't know if that was a little aggressive. I think I was just so burned by the last draft where I didn't get any stacks and my quarterbacks were disgusting that I was like, I'm just not going to let this happen again. But now that Michael Penix is sliding, I regret it. If I were able to get Michael Penix here instead with the Drake London, I think that would have been better. But that ship has sailed. And now this is not a very kind range of the draft board. If you're needing wide receivers and tight ends, Rachaad White's falling. Najee Harris is falling. I guess Garendo is kind of back on the menu now. I mean, he's going to be out for a few weeks. We could just do Bretton Strange with Travis Etienne and then see which tight end comes back to us. I think that's probably fine. What are you guys doing with Garendo? I saw someone talking about Jordan James in the chat. I mean, there's basically no healthy running backs behind Christian McCaffrey right now. My thought process on the backs is like the whole reason you're drafting Garendo is for the contingent upside if McCaffrey gets hurt. McCaffrey's healthy to start the season. You're waiting essentially for the chaos of the season to kick in. So Garendo realistically wasn't hitting your lineup or helping at the beginning of the season anyway. So is that a reason to continue to click him, at a similar price? Because the thesis hasn't really changed. I don't know. I'm talking out loud. I'm trying to talk myself into it. I think we will do it at this price, though. At 160 on a Purdy team when I don't like any of these wide receivers. Yeah, we can take Garendo at 160 on a Purdy team. So we have Purdy, Goff, Stroud, RJ Harvey, Connor, Montgomery, Etienne, Isaac Garendo, Malik Neighbors, Drake London, JSN, Jaden Higgins, George Kittle, and Bretton Strange. Just staying patient at running back, at wide receiver, but I messed that up. I mean, Michael Penix slides to 162. I should have taken Marvin Mims when I took CJ Stroud. Mims, I had the slide on him. I had RJ Harvey. He would have been my 5th wide receiver, and then I would have gotten Penix to come back as my cheaper quarterback 3 stack with Drake London. Another fuck up. I will say, I do regret that thing. I don't get particularly scared with wide receiver and sitting out this range. Like, I do really think that's one of the hallmarks of drafting this year is being patient in this 100 to 150 range, because there are so few options and a lot of the options don't project that much differently than the options going after pick 150. So in general, setting aside that Mims Stroud decision, I wish I could have back, I don't get spooked, especially when I have 3 wide receivers early, right? With Neighbors, London, JSN, that is a shit ton of targets banked early season production. So I think I'm going to be able to build out a solid wide receiver room late. And all of our other positions are in good shape. 3 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 2 tight ends. I'm going to at least be going 3 wide receivers here, and could definitely make the case for a 4th. Shall see. We shall see. All right. I'm going to make this couple picks here, and then I am going to, after this pick, I'm going to bring our guest on, Mr. Pat Kerrane, back in the saddle after being out last week for traveling. Let's see. What am I going to do here? We're definitely just going to not mess around and grab Jalen Knoll on a CJ Stroud team. All right. Time for Pat Kerrane. Scuba Kerrane, Patty Millions, Peacock Pat Kerrane on the 1s and 2s.
Are you kidding me? Kadarius Toney?
98 yards to the fucking house against Carolina in week 10.
All right, Pat Kerrane, welcome to Best Ball Breakfast. You are muted right now.
Hey, morning.
Good morning. How are we doing?
Doing good. Yeah. How you doing?
Good to hear. You know, I had a disaster first draft. Truly horrendous stuff for me, but we're trying to get back on track here. Need some wide receivers. I think, is this where I get my Jack Best shares, Pat? You know, I was fading early. Now he's at 184. Is this Jack Best territory?
I've been taking a ton of Jack Best. Yeah, I think this is a great price on him. He's a second-round pick. There was an early report that he had to go through Jacoby Myers, that he was kind of just a repeat of Jacoby Myers as far as skill set, and that it was going to be tough for him to play. But that was from a beat reporter. Mm-hmm. And kind of a strange report if you think about it for a second, because they knew they had Jacoby Myers and just drafted him in the second round. So that would be kind of strange if that's what the team believed. And then the preseason usage was that he was playing outside. And so his path is much more likely to be through Trey Tucker.
Yeah.
Now, maybe their plan was for him to be ahead of Deontay Thornton. I'm sure it was. They drafted him first, and he's not. So that's definitely, you know, bearish compared to what we would have thought at the draft. But Trey Tucker was not very good last year. And I think over the course of the season, Jack Best is a second-round pick. We would expect him to get out on the field more and more. So, yeah, I think at this point, it reminds me of back in 2020 or something. We have like Chase Claypool, you know, sitting in the at the end of the draft, like almost undrafted as a second-round pick. I thought we were done with just saying draft capital doesn't matter, and I won't take a guy because of his week 1 outlook in this tournament. So, yeah, I think Best is actually a pretty big edge right now.
Yeah. I'm happy to start getting some here. I took Jalen Knoll as well. I was just reading Dwayne's preseason utilization notes about him. Basically had the same, you know, string of playing time with the starters and coming out when Higgins did. He just continues to strike me as like an awesome pick in a somewhat ambiguous, you know, wide receiver room.
Yeah, I mean, I like Knoll a lot as well.
What do you think about one guy I'm thinking about taking here? This is a Jared Goff team where I'm building out a wide receiver room, is Isaac Tesla, who had a pretty solid preseason debut as well. I see you guys have him ranked here at like 215, but is he on the menu for you?
He is, yeah. With Tesla, it's been a little bit harder for me to get excited about because you have the Jameson Williams, you know, breakout last year, maybe another breakout coming this year, and then you have Amon-Ra there, and you have Laporta. So he has to be like so good once he gets out on the field to like really make a difference. But as far as, you know, hey, this guy could be a spike week in the right week, I think he's definitely on the menu as like 17th, 18th round.
Yeah, that's exactly how I view him, right? Where it's like, you don't have any aspirations for much production early, but it's just like, is he the guy that could do the KJ Hamler, Tyquan Thornton playoff bit? Like, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, there's certain guys like, I mean, he seems like he's very much on track and a part of the plans. And, you know, like Pat Bryant, I've gotten a little bit more nervous about, like, I haven't heard about Pat Bryant much in a while, and it seems
Yeah.
like Mims is playing a full-time outside role. Vele and Franklin are both getting run. There was talk of Vele was the clear number 2, so it's all of a sudden it's seeming like kind of crowded, and this Bryant really pushed for playing time, for a while. So, I was thinking that Bryant was like clearly a better pick than Tesla. Now I'm like, they're kind of the same. I'm basically just hoping one of these guys spikes at the end of the year.
Yeah, it is funny there. I kind of had a pick. I could have gone either direction there at the end. And I had mentioned earlier where it's like I'd taken a shit ton of Bryant. Franklin seems like an equally good bet right now. And I know you guys have had him ranked for a little while as well. But to me, that's kind of like an obvious spot of like, I have like 16% Bryant. Just take a lot of Franklin now instead. Yeah. He's going to have less ownership, probably a slightly better bet. And he's also young. Like he was one of the youngest rookie wide receivers last year. Like there's room for growth there. But actually, Pat, I already hopped us in a draft. We got our draft cooking here. We're on the clock at 1-6. Bijan or Barkley? I think we might going to get, or 1-3. Do you like Bijan or Barkley?
What about Gibbs?
Well, we timed out. Sorry. I didn't get us over there quick enough. That's just how the stream is going today. But is that a new thing for you? Trying to get more Gibbs?
Yeah. I'm kind of getting to the end of, it's time to put our final takes out there. And I just don't want to be underweight Gibbs at all. And I'm not like underweight, but I guess I want to be overweight on Gibbs. His profile was so, he's a great prospect. And then last year was so exciting. And, Johnny Morton's talked about playing Jameson Williams more and emphasizing him more, but he's also talked about emphasizing Gibbs more. And you get these Jets coaches, right? They come over and, they lose Ben Johnson, and then the Jets got, I think, another dude on the staff. So the staff's kind of cleared out. And their philosophy is like, man, we're so smart for how we play David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs that let's play Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, and Isaiah Davis, because it's super smart to use all 3 running backs. And then you go over to, it's like, well, Johnny Morton wasn't there last year, and he's coming in and he's like, these guys are kind of idiots. Like they're not using their best back. They're using this other back more than their best back. That's maybe a way that I can actually improve this already good offense. So yeah, I think Gibbs, when I think about which running back can kind of absolutely bury me for not treating them like they basically should have been the 101, it's Gibbs. Now Saquon can as well, but I think I'm least afraid of Bijan actually.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he did.
And I've just been kind of doing it. I've just been kind of taking Bijan at the 2, but I think I'm going to start mixing it up a little more.
Yeah, and based on I feel like I'm ending up with a decent amount of David Montgomery in that you can tell drafters everybody's wanting to inch Gibbs up and inch Montgomery down. Certainly feeling that. Real quick, here's the team before we pick here. I did Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, CJ Stroud, RJ Harvey, James Conner, David Montgomery, Travis Etienne, and Isaac Guerrero. Malik Neighbors, Drake London, JSN, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Knoll, Jack Besh, Isaac Tesla, and Troy Franklin, and then George Kittle and Brenton Strange there for that second solo draft. Pat, we're going to be on the clock at 2:10. We will not bleed out this time. We're looking at JT. No, he goes. Bucky, Reek, Jacobs, Higgins, McBride. Who do you like?
I'm down for Bucky.
Yeah. Seems like the combination. I saw Jacob had a Galbrain take of Rashad White could be even out. It could be bad for Bucky if it means more Sean Tucker. Is the Rashad White stuff a boost for you for Bucky?
I think it's a boost. Yeah, he's his path to being an absolute smash this year is by taking more of the Rashad White passing work. And if Rashad White's not on the field, that should help. Tucker's a better runner, so in some ways you're like, I'd rather it be Rashad White. Are we on the clock?
Yes. Thank you. Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison, quarterback.
Yeah, I think Garrett Wilson would be my preference. I'm down for Harrison though.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of Garrett Wilson there as well. I've also started to how are you thinking? Because I kind of had this like progression for round 3 where I was like, instead of just always taking, the Marvin Harrison, the Devontae Adams, which I had been doing for a while, like going, if McBride's there, take him. If Amari and Hampton's there, take him. And if not, do an elite quarterback. Like that was just my way of like getting off of always clicking the same wide receivers. Is the Hampton stuff, is the Slater stuff kind of spooking you more on Hampton at those prices?
It is a little bit. It's enough to where I don't want to necessarily reach as much. When I've seen him in the late 3rd, though, I'm still taking him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw like there was an interesting thing because I know over on at ETR, Brandon Thorne does their offensive line rankings, and he torpedoed the Chargers offensive line after the Slater thing. Silva came on their podcast and then said, I love Brandon Thorne. I consider him a close personal friend, but I think he overreacted here, and went on a monologue of why he thought the offensive line was going to be okay. I'm sure the truth is somewhere in the middle, where it's certainly not great, but not the end of the world, especially if Hampton's going to be the sole back and catch a bunch of passes in a good offense. Like,
yeah,
I think we can live with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not an offensive line expert, but my like assumption or my like theory, I guess, would be that this would probably like slightly worse for the passing game, because you can pick which. They have Joe Alt on the other side. Like the offensive line is a strength, right? And you can like, I know you can't just run to one side forever, but that can be like your strength of running to one side of the formation. I guess the right side. Yeah. But when you're dropping back to pass, like you can't have a tackle who can't block. So yeah, then again, if the passing game struggles, then the running game is going to struggle more too. So it's definitely not good, but it makes me like it slightly more worried about Herbert, I would say, more than anything.
Yeah. And I think that's what Silva said too, that he had like docked Herbert like a spot or two in his quarterback ranks. Our guy Jonathan wants to know, what if Bijan montaged during the offseason? Do you know what JB is referencing here?
This is a bit we were doing.
I was gonna say, because I don't fully get the bit.
So we did a bit where we were like, what if you could do, this is a good question for the chat too. What if you could pick a player who you had the ability for them to go through like the Rocky montage? So, they're on the beach, they're training. They're like, they go through the complete montage, and now they come back this year, and they're like, they've leveled up, And so we were like, who would we do this with? And we had, I forgot, our answer was like so hilarious, like so kind of like small potatoes. And then we asked Charlie, we said, who would you montage? And he said, Bo Jackson. Coming off the hip injury.
Yes. All right, we're on the clock. You want to do McLaurin, J-Mo, Waddle, Hunter?
Let's do J-Mo. Let's mix it up. I wrote him up recently. I'm trying to get a little more J-Mo in my life.
Yeah.
This is like, if J-Mo's just an absolute smash this year, this team all of a sudden looks like it's not weak wide receiver whatsoever.
Yeah, I read that article. You guys should be checking those out on Legendary Upside. Pat's been doing some deep dives into the wide receivers, kind of in this. What's the range you're specifically looking at? Is it like rounds 4 through 6?
Yeah, rounds 4 through 6. And I'm going through by ADP, and then I'm just going through and kind of giving my thoughts on like, all right, let's see if there's a clear path to this guy producing like a league-winning season, like Stephon Diggs 2020 type of season.
Yep. Yeah, and the ones I've read, you've done Zay, Rome, and J-Mo. Have I missed any? And Terry comes all the way back here to 5.
Nice. Let's do it.
Yeah, definitely good at that price.
I've tried to push Terry with Daniels, and I have not gotten him yet.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Daniels goes 40 at this one. That's the one thing about now doing Daniels early. Like that's why I made a joke about this on the Swolecast where it's like, I'm pretty concerned about the Terry McLaurin thing. In fact, I'm taking Jane Daniels in round 3 and Terry in round 4 now instead of vice versa, because it's like in practice, the slide, if you're interested in stacking those two, is like completely meaningless because you still have to spend a 3rd and 4th round pick to get it done in whatever order you want.
Right. That's true. I'm taking Daniels in the 4th though now, and I'm passing on Terry. And then I'm like, well, if I want to take Debo in the 6th, he'll definitely be there. Or, maybe not definitely, but he's likely to be there. And God, seeing that Terry did come back here makes me. Now, Daniels didn't make it to us, but yeah. I'm going to get one of them. I'm drafting enough. I'm going to get one Daniels McLaurin. There
you go. All right, here's a question from Blizzy that I think is a good one, and thank you for the super chat. Blizzy, appreciate you. And this is hot on the heels of Rashee Rice going at pick 39 in this draft. Pat, in my first draft, I took him at the 4-5 turn at 48, but he says, with nothing ever being baked in, this is in reference to the Addison suspension, where does Rice go after the suspension announcement? Not where he should go, but where do you think he does go?
I think he'll go in like the 5th round. Because I don't think people are baking in more than 2 games would be my guess. I think if he's suspended for 2 games, then I think he'll actually kind of be more like where he went here. But Rice is like, a standard deviation, I guess is high. I don't know. There's a lot of variance around where he goes in drafts. So you can see him go right around here. You can see him go in the middle of the 4th, but you can also see him go in like the early to mid 5th. And I think that's kind of like you're just in different rooms of people who like believe different things about the length of the suspension. So I think this is like a 2-gamer. He would go here. But I think anything more than a 2-gamer, he's going to fall to at least the 4 or 5 turn and maybe even the mid 5th. If it's like a 6-gamer, then I think he's probably more like 5-6.
I guess maybe where I think just slightly differently. Like I took him at the 4 or 5 turn this morning with the ambiguity. And I truly think people would dock him almost irregardless of the amount in a way where like just the announcement.
You think he falls on 2?
Maybe not 2, but definitely 3 like Addison. I mean, Addison fell on 3. I think
he falls on 3. Yeah.
Say he gets a 3-game suspension. I think he's a mid 5th round pick, like for sure, and would not be surprised to see screenshots of him at the 5-6 turn.
Well, that's the other thing is that I think that ambiguity or that kind of disagreement room to room will still exist. So I wouldn't be surprised with really any screenshots. Like a 701 Rice,
yes,
post suspension would not shock me.
Did
we just go?
We did. We were engrossed in the conversation. Here's the good news. I got the top pick in the sidekick and the top guy who's been flying off boards, and that's Matthew Golden for us at
nice. All right.
70.
I'm excited.
Yes. And I was just going to say too, because I was going to bring up Igbuka and Golden, that like in some of my drafts, they weren't even falling to pick 68. Like those guys are on an ADP rocket ship to the beginning of the 6th round. So we got Bijan and Bucky to start, and then Garrett Wilson, JMO, McLaurin, Golden. That feels awesome. We are on the clock. Rome has slid all the way to pick 75, and yet the sidekick still likes Jacoby. Addison, of course, here as well.
We can do Rome. We can do Rome.
I don't care. Rome, that's a pretty... I don't think I've ever seen Rome this late at pick 75.
I have like no Rome, so my own personal exposures wise, getting him at 75 is nice.
Yeah, I agree. And again, too, like, you're stacking up these bets. You're getting the values on McLaurin. I think Golden will end up being like a CLV value by the time BBM locks for sure at pick 70. And then Rome, a full round past. And so you're just like, can we get one or two mega hits out of like, these 3 guys and you'll be happy there.
Yeah. I mean, my thing with Rome, I wrote Rome up. And so when I looked at these breakout seasons, I looked at kind of what the previous breakout seasons looked like. I looked at guys years 1 through 6 going back to 2018. that had at least 16 PPR points per game and at least a 12% win rate in an FFPC, because that's what I could go back to 2018 with. And then I like broke down like what happened, and there, you know, some kind of high level stuff that some of them share in common. But what was interesting is like you could kind of bucket them. Like some guys like just had a lot more volume. They ran a lot more routes, and the team had more dropbacks. And then like maybe their efficiency was kind of the same, or in some cases like their first read target rate like went down. But then the other dudes were like installed as like the clear-cut number one on their offense. And those guys actually, at least in the past, had been on the same team with the same head coach. Everyone but Kupp had the same quarterback. So it was like kind of stability. And in an offseason, a team's like, okay, it's time for this guy to like be a big part of what we do. And so that was like kind of a different path in some ways. And then another kind of path was quarterback upgrade, where you see guys like yards per target just like go through the roof in tandem with the new quarterback. And so, you know, kind of looking at like these different paths, if you want to be like installed as the clear-cut number one on your team, it really helps to already be like in the mix. And Rome was not really, he ran a ton of routes, but he wasn't really in the mix as, you know, like his first read target rate sucked. He wasn't really a huge part of what they were trying to get done out on the field last year, which is, you know, I would put that on the coaching to a degree.
Were there any splits with Rome with Keenan off the field, like how he performed when Keenan wasn't on the field? I'm just trying to think of like with Keenan being such a target hog, like if there's actually like a way where Keenan not being there is actually masking some of that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I should look at that because Keenan ran a ton of routes, but then missed games. And Rome ran an absurd amount of routes. He had like over 600 routes, which is bullish, you know, that they put a rookie out there that much.
Yeah.
But it's also bearish in the sense that he's not going to run more routes this year, most likely. Like the Bears would have to pass so much for him to run more routes. So his volume is probably going to decline from a route perspective.
We're on the clock, pick 94. B-Rob with McLaurin as an ADP value, or anything else you're seeing here?
Yeah, we could grab B-Rob. Fields is also fun with Wilson. Can we push the quarterback around?
There's one drafter behind us. Yeah, it's always hard with, if you have Wilson, I think you have a good shot, but people also take Fields unstacked for sure.
We'll probably get him.
Yeah, they have Bo Nix. Yeah, okay, they had Sutton, so we can see if we can pull that off. And we also have cover with Kyler, and there's the Trey McBride drafter. So we should be okay here. Yeah, we're good.
Beautiful.
All right, we'll grab Fields. Sorry, but keep going on that.
Yeah, so the path for Rome to be like a smash, like, you know, that he's going to have 16, 17 PPR points per game feels like pretty thin. And I looked at, you know, okay, let's compare him to guys in the past who've had like similar efficiency as a rookie, but also ran a ton of routes. And that's where you do see like Devontae Adams and DeAndre Hopkins and some of these guys who were disappointing as rookies, but like went on to be, Will Fuller was in that mix. There's a number of guys where you're like, these are actually like pretty good pros generally. Sterling Shepard was in there. It's not like Jalen Reagor had better efficiency, but he ran a lot fewer routes. So I think the fact that Rome was out there that much is meaningful. But the issue is that, you know, even Hopkins, who obviously is a superstar, like he didn't really truly crush until year 3. And I just think we're just asking for too much from Rome with the price. I think he's a guy who should be in kind of the 7th round or the 7-8 turn. And there he could pay off ADP much like JSN did. I think the JSN year 2 is pretty realistic for him.
Well, not to mention like the Waldron, the crowded room year 1. Like there's plenty of parallels there.
Like JSN year 2 is definitely doable, but I have a hard time seeing more than that. And when he goes in the 5th round, I'm just like, I think I can do better from like a big win perspective. And then obviously like Rome wasn't efficient in his rookie season. They bring in their first 2 picks are pass catchers. Loveland has looked awesome. Burden, they're talking about, you know, he might not play that much at the beginning of the season, but they're like, dude, the guy's a playmaker. That much is clear. So he could be coming on down the stretch. You know, DJ Moore's still going to be heavily involved. Like, it's pretty crowded. So the floor is actually pretty low. Like, the floor is that he's 5th round De'Ami Brown.
Yeah.
The floor is low, man.
Well, and at this point, right? Like, I can't imagine taking Rome ahead of Igbuka and Matthew Golden, where you get to re-roll the bet of a round 1 rookie,
right?
When all indications are, one, they're awesome. The preseason usage is there. The ambiguity, like on their depth charts with the Godwin injury and just general Packers tomfoolery, like everything's there. It's like, I'm going to re-roll the bet on those rookies. After those guys are gone, let's talk like we talked in the 7th round here.
Right. Yeah. And Playoff Orondo says he's going to go in the 3rd or the 4th round. I think that's actually making my point, is that you should be looking for guys who are going to go in the 1st or 2nd round, in the 5th round. We want big breakout potential. So,
do you like Caleb with Rome or Love with Golden? Seems like
I think Caleb with Rome.
Yeah.
I need to be pretty wrong about the ceiling of the Rome Caleb connection. Well, so let's do it.
It is nice. Even like JMO with Goff, like when you are taking on these super volatile assets, where you're kind of admitting the likelihood of them smashing is probably low. So if they do, like, man, that's the time to correlate. Like, how can I get multiple things right with this bet?
But no, 100%. I like Goff with JMO a lot.
Yeah,
because to me, JMO is a bet on the full season. That he's a huge piece of what they're trying to do, week in, week out. And that elevates Goff if he succeeds in that.
So we could do Love as the 3rd quarterback, or we could like grab a running back like Tootin or Sampson. What do you think?
Tootin might come back, and so I think maybe let's just do Love and do the triple up.
Yep, I like it.
The 3 in the window with stacks. That's fun with their
fun
potential number ones.
Yes. So here's the team we took. This is actually like very similar to your winning BBM lineup with the double anchor start. The only thing we don't have is the elite tight end mixed in. Which, by the way, I was telling the chat earlier, I have a video that's going to post right after Best Ball Breakfast today where for the Deposit Kingdom, I basically duped the exact structures of all 5 previous BBM winning teams in this landscape. Like the exact structures. So I drafted them blow for blow. And obviously I gave myself very rigid confines. Like if you took a quarterback in this round, like I was taking a quarterback, but I would set it up, with like making sure I was taking players who would realistically have a quarterback, etc. But it was a very fun exercise to see all of your guys' structures and like which ones kind of still hold up really well in this landscape. And both your and Liam's kind of like double anchor starts, lend themselves almost perfectly to this landscape where it's like you get those elite running backs, smash wide receivers, get the stacked quarterbacks in the window. It holds up well.
I had Kittle in the 4th, right? So
yeah,
I only had 1 receiver, 2 receivers through 5 and 1 receiver through 4.
And I will give a spoiler alert. The Kittle in the 4th round is a big issue if you're trying to take a tight end in the 4th round.
Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, no. What tight ends do you have? Laporta?
Let's just say we have a lot of Sam Laporta. Spoiler alert. But then some of the other ones like broke.
Let the draft fall to you, Pete. Come on.
No, that's the thing. I acknowledge that it was, a rigid draft challenge, but then once you zoom out, you can see like, okay, now same with like the elite quarterbacks, like Liam had Josh Allen in round 5. And it's like, you just got to adjust to the,
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Is he an Allen?
People forget. So if you're looking for an elite quarterback or an elite tight end in round 5 these days, you are shit out of luck. So it's being flexible with that, but it was fun to kind of see what stuff still works well. So check that out on the Deposit Kingdom. Here's the team so far. Fields, Caleb Williams, and Jordan Love, Bajan, Bucky, and Brian Robinson, Garrett Wilson, JMO, Terry McLaurin, Matthew Golden, and Rome. And then I also wanted to mention here, Viper, you were asking about how to get in the drafts earlier. I see you have the YouTube membership. If you are a Best Ball Value Hound YouTube member and you're in the Discord, you just sync your YouTube account with a Discord account, and then you will get alerts in the Best Ball Breakfast channel when I hop into drafts. And yes, these are all in the video. I have the full draft boards. I have the full teams, Viper asking the last few years BBM champs lineup sitting around. So check that out in the video and you will have all of them at your fingertip, including the dates they were drafted as well. Pat, Dylan Sampson might make it all the way back around to us here at 141. We shall see, or I might have jinxed it. No, he did. Do you like, you like Sampson?
I like
here?
Sampson. Sure. Yeah. That's fun.
While the clock bleeds on that, what are you doing with Spears in this ankle thing?
Yeah, I mean, we have him likely to miss time in the beginning of the year. So, I think he makes more sense on a build like this where we have two anchor running backs. Brian Robinson's RB3, and so it's like kind of a end of the season type of bet. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to know with certainty right now, what the outlook is for him with high ankle, because with there's like a tail, there's like a bad outcome tail on the high ankle stuff where it actually like affects their season,
Yeah. And I was kind of talking through this with Garendo too, actually. We're back on the clock, and Spears does come back. The sidekick likes him at the top at this price. And then there's also like Hunter Henry Strange or a running or a wide receiver.
We can probably take on the risk of him at this point if you want. I'm also happy to get tight end.
All right. Yeah, let's take on the risk at 147. Like you said, Bijan, Bucky, Brian Robinson, and then Sampson and Spears. Spears at 147 here. Guys like Benson are off the board. Javonte Williams is off the board. Obviously, you're not, you're taking Jaden Blue over Tyjae Spears right now.
Sure. Sure.
But yeah, I don't mind that price there at 147, and we're setting up for kind of like a punt tight end room anyways.
Yeah. It's always tough with, let me see if,
well, the thing I was going to say about it too, and I was trying to talk through this, I was curious how you think about it with Garendo, where I'm like, the whole point of Garendo, and yes, with Tyjae Spears, I was hoping for some standalone value, certainly. But the main thesis of the play is if Pollard gets hurt and he's the bell cow back, the contingent value. Right. So I was thinking Garendo, out for a few weeks. I'm like, does the thesis really change? Because you're just playing for the CMC getting hurt. And it's like, he's going to be healthy at the start of the season. It's going to take a few weeks for that to probably kick in if the thesis ever does kick in. So it's like, can't you survive Garendo chilling and rehabbing while CMC's healthy in the first place?
He fell to me the other day, last night, I think, and I had the exact same thought. I was like, I'm probably not getting anything from him for almost the whole season. So why does it really matter? It only matters if he just like loses the backup job because of this injury.
Right. And then Jordan James though gets hurt, and that makes that less likely.
Right.
Charlie wants to get your State of the Union on Breece. Obviously, all kinds of Breece discourse. I pulled up the preseason usage, and it wasn't nearly as bad as Twitter had made it out to seem to me. But what is your thoughts here on Breece?
So, we've lowered Breece. I thought the preseason usage was concerning because Isaiah Davis was involved. That's really where I just didn't expect that they would involve Isaiah Davis in any real way. And he was looking like, maybe he's their third down back. And my feeling on Breece has been kind of like bring it on. If you really think that he's not better than Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis, then seeing them all out there is going to prove that he is. But the problem is that they've now seen them all out there and they're continuing to play all three. So maybe he's not standing out like I thought. I still think over the course of an NFL season, he will. And I think maybe they're just really committed to this committee approach. And they think they're again, they're patting themselves on the back for not playing one of the best running backs, maybe the best running back in the league enough. So, they're going to get too cute here as well. But I think over the course of the year, Breece will stand out. The problem is that in the beginning of the year, it could be really ugly if they involve Isaiah Davis. We're talking about maybe a split early down role and then Brees doesn't have third downs, like that could hurt for sure. Yeah, Ertz is good here. So
Yeah.
I'm still pretty hopeful and optimistic for Brees over the course of the year. If we're talking about a team that's going to be built around the run, and his competition is still just way worse than him, I think that plays out over the course of the season where Brees is going to be the guy. But for the beginning of the season, let's kind of settle in and get ready to be really frustrated. That's kind of where I'm at on Brees.
Yeah, and there's if you think about situations, right? Every coach in there, or actually, let's make this pick here. So Sidekick definitely likes going tight end. Jonnu.
Do you have much Okonkwo?
Only on Cam Ward teams, but I love Chig.
Yeah, let's take Chig. I have none, and he's a guy that the preseason usage was quite bullish for, full-time usage.
Yeah,
and not someone I expected to be in that role. So, that's
target
really
share
bullish.
Right alongside all the wide receivers there with is Calvin Ridley soaking up everything.
Well, I think with Chig too, when you look at the way they're using their rookies, they have Van Jefferson potentially operating as their X, and Nathan Yankee, I think, noted that that he was that Alec Ayamanor was playing Z, which was surprising and kind of indicates maybe he's going to be backing up Ridley, which would be kind of bullish for Chig. Any Van Jefferson routes are good for the other people on the field.
Anyone who doesn't have the ability to earn consistent targets.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. But yeah, the Brees bearishness, let me see if I can find. Yankee had a skeet over on Blue Sky, where he talked about Brees and put it in the most bearish terms possible. Okay, here he said, we might live in a world where Brees Hall is just going to share the David Montgomery role with Braylon Allen, and with a worse offensive line than Montgomery and a quarterback who can run. So if you want to panic about Brees, that's the way to do it. But the thing is, they've talked about Brees all summer as being kind of their Gibbs and them throwing to him. And I think he will get, running backs get plenty of targets on first and second down. So I think he'll have that pass catching role. But if it's just split up, between three guys, it's not going to be enough in the early season to pay off the ADP. We'll see if he can earn more over the course of the season.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's the thing, right? If you think about a coach, and, I feel like this happens in the NBA too, where there's load management or whatever. In their perfect world, they'd have clones of all their best players and evenly distribute their playing time. And so it's of course you want to go into the season saying, I have three running backs who are equally talented that I can just divvy up the workload and nothing ever changes and the production is constant. But then the pads come on and games happen and superstars reveal themselves to be superstars and coaches are like, I can't take that guy off the field. Otherwise I'm losing
happens
games.
Constantly.
So
yeah, this was the stuff with it's the way we think about rookies, and it's kind of I'm applying some of that rookie mindset a little bit.
Jonnu falls here as third tight end at pick 190 seems solid to me.
Yeah, I'm down.
As far as punting tight end, it would have been nice to get a Hunter Henry or Strange, but going Zach Ertz, Chig, Jonnu, I think that's still very solid there.
Yeah, and Jonnu might be getting some rushing touchdowns.
Of course, the Arthur Smith thesis. So our team so far here, as we head to the final two picks, Justin Fields, Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, Bajan Bucky, Brian Robinson, Dylan Sampson, Tyjae Spears, Garrett Wilson, J-Mo, McLaurin, Golden, Rome, Ertz, Chig, Jonnu Smith. Probably looking at least one wide receiver here over the next two picks, and then there are some fun running back selections as well.
Where are you at on Smith now?
I did. I made.
I kind of want him.
Horton goes. Damn, yeah. I took him in my first draft. You want to do? We could have our. I've just been. We were arguing about. I like Shipley over Brashard Smith, but Shipley's gone in this one, so I don't think it's a. I'm pretty spooked about the Brashard Smith stuff. It feels like you're having to hit like a 4-leg parlay on him, and I could certainly see it hitting, but I just think there's cleaner bets in this range.
What's the 4-leg parlay?
Well, the 4-leg parlay is first, he needs to be good. Second, he needs to climb up the depth chart. Third, he needs probably multiple injuries to get anything beyond just, like a pass catching role. And you also need the Chiefs to finally not slow play a rookie, for once in their lives. It just seems like a lot of things have to go right.
Well, they didn't slow play Pacheco, which was the last time they had a 7th-round rookie who they gave reps with the ones.
But those guys like Pacheco profiles as the early down grinder in a way that Rashard Smith doesn't. For sure.
But I guess my thing with Smith is that I don't need him to be anything more than the pass catcher. The hope is that he's the pass catcher. To me, is that he's Jerick McKinnon, that kind of role. So I'm thinking about like he's good. That's my parlay. He's good because if he's good, Pacheco's not the pass catching back, and there's really not that much competition for someone to be out there in kind of that design reception role. And originally I was like, well, he might make the team as a kick returner, and that does look to be helping him, but it seems like he's just going to make the team because they like him.
Yeah. But like, you agree that there's like, no matter what happens, right? It's like probably Pacheco, Hunt, or Mitchell, like soaking up the goal line carries and the early down work.
I don't think Mitchell's going to make the team. Has been my
that would be interesting.
But yeah, I do agree. I think it'll be him and Hunt. Like if Pacheco went down, they would play Hunt. But I think it would be a mix. Like I don't think that the Hunt would handle like all the rushing, and Smith would just only be pass catching at that point, because Hunt's so washed, and Smith as a prospect has some juice as a runner. Like he's not just he was an actual running back at SMU. Like he was used not as a satellite back, but as a true running back.
Yeah. All right. One more pick, 3653. This should probably be a wide receiver, unless you are interested in exploring. I mean, we did get insane values on McLaurin in Rome, so it's a stronger 5 wide receiver room than normal. I've also is Reynolds still here on a? No, Reynolds is gone. I was going to say on.
And you get sniped team on Josh Reynolds,
Yeah. I'm content.
Is Mitchell gone? The 80 Mitchell go?
He did.
Yeah.
He did. Coker, like I said, I've been trying to get more Troy Franklin, Vele potentially as well.
Coker's a guy that I'm trying to get more of now after telling Ben Gretch on our Miami trip that she shouldn't be drafting him.
Yeah.
He looked good. He looked good, and he looks like he's competing with Leggett. So that's a fight he can win. I'm excited about that. So yeah, Coker's fun.
Yeah, let's do Coker here. Entered the game on the second drive after Leggett's ejected. I just learned that Xavier Leggett got ejected in a preseason game and did that thing Cokeheads love. He made plays. Second-year wide receiver caught a TD pass and was targeted on 25% of his routes. He's currently 4th string on the depth chart, but don't be surprised if he passes Leggett or Thielen this year. It does seem like a spot where he could climb that depth chart relatively easily.
The thing I was saying before the preseason game, and Hunter Renfrow got hurt, but it seemed like they really were excited about Renfrow in a way that felt like hard to get my head around. Like they seemed like legitimately excited, and then it's like, okay, well, if it's Renfrow and Thielen playing the slot, like Coker's screwed. Like if they're serious about this, then like he can't play the slot. I didn't give him enough. I didn't realize that he would be, in the mix with Leggett like that, and that they'd be kind of willing maybe to move on from their second round pick that quickly. That's exciting. Like if he's going to play outside, then all of a sudden there's a real path, because Leggett's not very good. He could if they're open to him taking that job, like I certainly am.
Yeah. And man, the other thing too, it's like the fact that Bryce Young apparently looked awesome over the weekend. Teteroy and McMillan looked awesome. Like if this passing game has some juice, I know I think it was earlier in the offseason. I was debating either with the chat about how much they actually improved their defense or not, but it still seems like plenty of shootouts on tap in their division. So man, I'm pretty excited about just Bryce and that entire passing game right now, including Coker.
No, yeah, I'm excited about T-Mac for sure. Sawston notes that Leggett was actually the last pick in the first round, which is I think I just memory hold because it's so crazy.
It is. It was crazy too because at the time, right, he was like a reroll on the
Jonathan Mingo
bet, and then it was like more of the same. I guess we didn't get like the breakout from Bryce until like the very end of the season. So it's like, well, how much, are you willing to give him a break on that? But it's like, man, they add the best wide receiver in the class and then have this Jalen Coker who just seems awesome. That's a lot to contend with to be relevant at his prices.
Yeah. And, there's a lot of the kind of the cope on Leggett, not even cope so much. It was more like film analysis takes. And it was like, actually, this pick's really good for the Panthers, with this pick being the T-Mac pick, because it makes Leggett better because he can kind of operate more on some of these like underneath crosser stuff and doesn't have to be the big X. Like he's a Z, not an X, even though he's big. Which, maybe, but I also think that's how you talk about bad players. It's like, actually it's good for this player that a real player's here now because he can like do stuff that that's easier.
Yeah.
The defense won't be able to focus on. Like, that's how you talk about bad players. Like, but it could also be that maybe they just like aren't playing him much by the end of the year.
Yeah. Yep. All right. We land this plane 3-6-6-3. We got off to a rough start because I didn't get Pat's Gibbs selection in. But I do like how this one turned out. Justin Fields, Caleb Williams, and Jordan Love all stacked up. Bajan, Bucky, Brian Robinson, Dylan Sampson, Spears, and Brashard Smith. 6 wide receivers, Garrett Wilson, Jamo, McLaurin, Golden, Rome, and Coker. And then 3 tight ends, Ertz, Okonkwo, and Jonnu. Some really nice values on this team. A lot of nice correlation there. No week 17 correlation on the main stacks, but we can survive that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's fun. The only like one, like the Jonnu fall, I think was probably the right way to go. I kind of like, I was like, it'd be fun to take Mason Taylor here, maybe, although another high ankle. You probably only need one high ankle recovery on each team. So I think the Jonnu falling min one, max
min or
one.
Max one.
Yeah, definitely max one. I don't know about min one. So I think the Jonnu fall was the right move. The golden fall was so obvious we didn't even have to talk about that one. And yeah, we had, what was the other value that we got?
Well, Rome 61 to 75. Yeah. And this team too. I mean, this is actually, there's funny thing, and I just have these teams in my head because I just did that video, but this is the same structure Amin had as far as positional 3-6-6-3. He obviously took all of his running backs more in like the dead zone. It was like rounds 5, 6, and 7. But the thing he did, he had the 5 wide receivers early, and then he tacked on Jaden Reed was his 6th way cheap wide receiver. So it was like a pretty thin wide receiver room, but he had started with the 4 up top. But you do really have to hit like on a 5 wide receiver room. Like you need that last wide receiver to give you some usable weeks if you're going that thin. And I think Coker's kind of a fun bet for that.
No, I agree. And Coker's not a rookie, but he's, a second-year guy who's 4th on the depth chart who could be kind of coming on down the stretch. So he kind of fits that profile where he's like late season juice. Yeah, it's a fun team.
What do you think about some of the new like post preseason prices? Like I'll start with one here. Trevion Henderson, right? Like he's not escaping out of the 4th round. I've seen him at the 4-5 turn, but man, he's almost up a full round and a half after his awesome preseason game. Are you buying or selling at that price?
So I have a lot of Henderson. I think I was at like 23% before the
Nice.
preseason. So he's been just a real big target at the 5-6 turn, along with Harvey. But I started flipping to Henderson ahead of Harvey, thankfully, because Harvey's not moving. The funny thing to me about the Henderson stuff is that it should probably be Harvey who's going way higher, because we had the Benjamin Albright report. He's not the starter, man. Trust me on this. You got to trust me. He's definitely not the starter. And then they played him as the starter. So I don't know. Maybe he is the starter, because that's what the team did.
I said that on Chip Jay-Z too. Like, Albright's like uber confidence in these takes, and then they're completely off the mark. It's just like, we got to stop appealing to authority there.
He fully missed like a day later. It wasn't even, didn't get to week 1. A day later, they're like, oh no, he's definitely a starter. Like, oh, okay. Gosh. So I don't know. Like, that is so much more bullish than Henderson returning a kickoff for a touchdown. Like, we think both these guys are good. We shouldn't be looking for information that, I mean, it's fun, obviously, I get it, but like, Henderson looking good is less valuable than Harvey being the starter, because Henderson wasn't the starter. Henderson was kind of in this third down role thing.
The chat is saying, I had not heard this. Have you heard this? Multiple people said that Albright is saying Dobbins was supposed to start but couldn't find his helmet. That's the beat reporter equivalent of the dog ate my homework excuse. Couldn't find his helmet for the entire drive. How long did it take him to find the helmet? Is it?
if you're
that's
if
cope.
That is the
what?
If your starting job is, if your grip on the starting job is, I can't find my helmet away from disappearing, then yeah, you're not really the starter. Oh my God.
I do think Cole's right. It feels like Peyton is trolling Albright. He's like, Albright's like, dude, what the fuck? You told me Dobbins was starting. He's like, I don't know, man. Couldn't find his helmet.
I wouldn't put that past Peyton. He I feel like he has his ear to the ground on that type of stuff. He really might be trolling him.
If we hear that Najee Harris can't find his helmet, that's when we know Pete trolling has occurred, because he literally can't see it.
Yeah. Oh God. But yeah, I think like Henderson, sure, rise, but like the fact that Harvey's still going in the late 5th or even early 6th, like I had Lamar Jackson. This is a slow draft, but it was right after the decision that I had was right after the Broncos game. And I had Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers got back to me. And this is like late 3rd Lamar. So I'm looking at like 5'10", 5'11" Zay. I was like, I kind of have to do Zay. And Harvey was sitting there, and I really wanted to take Harvey. And I took Zay, and Harvey came back to me, which I was like, how is this possible? And then I had a similar decision again, and I was like, that was fun, but I'm just taking Harvey this time. And then Zay came back to me. So I'm running hot on these stats. Yeah, but God, like Harvey in the 6th now makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. And I was telling the chat too, it was last week when you were out. Kyle and I did this team from the 11 hole where we go Puka, Brian Thomas, JSN, Evans, and then you double tap Henderson and Harvey at the 5-6 turn. Just like that's never happening again. It's just not happening.
Those starts were so fun. And I'm thankful I did a bunch of those. Like, that was one of my favorite things. Bimefor's been calling a Triple H, where you do, this is, I guess it might be back again, except for the 2 guys. But there was one point where you could do Hampton, Henderson, Harvey.
When he
and
was
you could go
the
4, 5, 6. Yeah. When you could get him at the early 4th or the late 3rd. And then you just do that Henderson, Harvey, 5, 6 double tap. It was pretty fun.
Hey, you know what? I take it back. I said you'll never be able to do it again. Maybe if Dobbins finds his helmet for preseason week 2, we can get some Harvey fun and get him back. Helmet gate.
Well, I think to answer the Henderson question, if you're light Henderson, I don't think that you need to chase him into the 4th round right now, because you got to think like there's going to be another preseason game in a week, and given the usage that we just saw, like what's more likely to hold, the usage or him looking like an absolute superstar? I mean, he could look like an absolute superstar again, but he might not play that much.
Because if you just looked at the usage and you don't know about how electric he looked in returning the thing, you see the snaps, Ramondre lead, rush attempts, 83% to 17%. The routes went to Henderson, which makes sense. Like they drafted him to be the pass catching back, leading them in the targets. But this usage like strikes me exactly as how the market was basically thinking this would play out, where we shouldn't necessarily be having to pay a round and a half premium on that usage.
No. And I guess like I've thought Henderson was an awesome prospect and underpriced. So the market now thinking that too, like I'm not like Matt, like I'm like, yeah, we agree now. We didn't agree before, now we agree. So I get that now he should be higher because, you know, he was going way too late before, but it's still why did it take preseason? That's not really what preseason is supposed to be for like, oh my God, this guy's sick. It's supposed to be for us kind of reading the tea leaves on how they're going to deploy these guys in the early part of the season. Like that's the real value of the preseason. And that's only a small piece of the total pie. Like how they deploy them at the beginning of the season doesn't mean everything, but it's nice to get a better sense of it.
It's also too, there's like this effect where it's like taking like beer goggles off, right? Almost where it's like, we kind of knew like, you know, Trevor, like Sean, people were teasing Sean at the beginning of the year. Sean had Trevion Henderson ranked as like an early 3rd round pick. I think at one point he might've had him like 17th overall. And then it was like, okay, I'll move it down a little bit. It's like the people who actually do the prospecting and look at these profiles and think, what could he do for our fantasy team, were uber aggressive on him. And then, you know, we all come, it's like Ramondre, we keep hearing he's going to get touches. And then it's like, you see it. And you're like, let me take those goggles off. Oh, I now see the vision of what the profile indicated he could do.
Yeah,
but really nothing has changed. It's like, we knew that all along.
Right. This is just people kind of waking up to who he really might be, which, yeah, I mean, he might be an absolute star. So, you know, he should have been priced higher all along. I do like the idea that like when Trevion Henderson is, you know, in the 3rd round in Sean's ranks, that's after he factored in the market.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. I want to say he was 17 overall in the initial one, and then he like moved it down slightly.
It's like these are his market-based ranks.
Let me get, before Leone comes on here in a few minutes, the other backfield we were talking about that is just like kind of all over the place is now this Jags backfield. ETN playing 100% of the snaps there. I took him at 112 in one of my drafts before you hopped on, but then he went at pick 85 here. Like, how are you handling the Jags backfield?
I'm back to taking some ETN because I felt like, man, this dude's like, you know, should he be the 3rd back in ADP at this point? Like, it's looking bleak, but that was obviously an overreaction given the preseason usage. So now I'm kind of back to mixing him in as kind of like your premium Ramondre, like bet on a guy to give you some production early. I'm still like with Tootin, I'm still very excited. The thing with him is he's missed some time in camp. The reports from John Shipley were that he was really stacking days, and you know, he looked good. He did the thing where he like got down in time so they could kick a field goal at the end, you know, like the heady play stuff. You know, Liam Cohen's going to love that. So I'm thinking that, you know, sometimes with these rookies, it's like, okay, first preseason game, they play more than we'd like, but they look good. They do what they're supposed to do. And importantly, they like missed some of camp. So the coaches like want to see more of them. Now it'll come up like, okay, in the 2nd preseason game, 3rd preseason, are they getting treated like a more important part of the team? So that's my hope with Tootin. But I think I'm still optimistic that we get there. In the same way I am with like Luther Burden, where, yeah, the first preseason usage was not what you'd want the preseason to end with, but there's reasons that these guys are probably playing more than we'd ideally like to see.
We do have a little breaking news here per the chat. Just confirm this via Schefter. Dolphins running back Alexander Mattison underwent season-ending neck surgery yesterday in Chicago. He hurt his neck during Sunday's game versus the Bears. Sounds like a very scary injury, but certainly kind of relevant for fantasy because I think there was a chance he was going to, you know, have a little bit of a role on the Dolphins there. It definitely makes the like Ollie Gordon, Jalen Wright stuff a little cleaner now. Before we bring Leone on, you got any quick takes on that?
No, it definitely makes it cleaner. I was concerned about Wright maybe not even being the 2, and like maybe he wouldn't have been, but certainly helps him. Ollie Gordon, yeah, I don't know. I'm not that excited about either of these guys' talents, so it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough for me to get. I'm seeing in the chat Wright to the moon, Ollie Gordon to the moon. That's like maybe sums up. Like if they're both going to the moon, maybe they, are going to be cannibalizing each other a little bit for that backup role. But yeah.
All right, Pat, let the people know, obviously, if they're watching on stream, we had the sidekick up here during the draft. What should people check out over on Legendary Upside?
Yeah, if you want to check out the sidekick, we got monthly, we got yearly, and packages for that. And if you're doing like the Eliminator, any of the contests, like the non-traditional formats, it supports all of that. It's been huge for me as I'm trying to max the Eliminator. So yeah, if you're trying to get jam volume right now, it's super helpful. And you can get a $20 bonus ticket to the DraftKings flagship tournament as a sidekick subscriber. Learn more about the sidekick at legendaryupside.com/sidekick and the DraftKings bonus ticket at legendaryupside.com/perks. And then, yeah, rolling out those breakout articles, as I mentioned earlier. I'm going to have George Pickens out soon, Chris Olave out soon, Jerry Jeudy out soon. Just kind of rolling through all the receivers who are being drafted in rounds 4 through 6, and just thinking about, can these be the absolute league winners this year? And then, yeah, some more content rolling out on the site from other authors as well.
Yeah, and also if you guys are leg up subs, Pat's been recording audio versions of those as well if you want to take those on the go with you. The other stuff I'll mention, check out Pat and the crew on ADP Chasing tomorrow. Will be a fun episode with all of the preseason movements to discuss. And then Thursday, we kick off our live main event draft. So we will be joined by Ron Stewart. That is going to be a later than normal ship chasing show. So instead of 3 p.m, we'll be doing that at 7 p.m. Eastern, moving to prime time. We'll have the full crew there along with Ron Stewart battling it out in the FFPC high stakes street. So you can keep an eye out for that this week. All right. Without further ado, we're going to let Pat go and bring my guy, Mike Leone, on.
Paul Przlesny.
You're a psychopath.
Travis Kelce, alpha play. Jamar, alpha play chase.
Give me rookies or give me death.
All right, there he is. Are you allowed to wear a shirt with your own name on it? I mean, I'm wearing a Best Ball Breakfast shirt, but it doesn't have my name on it. Leone, that feels kind of conceited.
Yeah, what you got to do when you accidentally completely miss a week of the stream is just come back over the top and just double down on the ego. That's the move.
That's right. Yes, Leone. Where were you on vacation last week?
Ithaca, New York. Did some glamping out there.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I mentioned in the chat last week, I was like, I think it's kind of weird that Leone hasn't said anything, but not the weirdest thing. Like I send, my links over and don't expect a response. And then I'm like, I had said you could come a little late, but I'm like, now it's getting really late there. And then I finally texted you. It's all good. We rolled with the punches. Davis filled in your honor. So it's good to have you back here.
All right. I'm sure Davis and I very, very similar takes and
yes.
Demeanors.
Yes, Ghosting Pete is an alpha play here. I'm going to get the draft assistant up. I'm going to get some updated ETR ranks here. Busy weekend. I'll start here before we pick at 1-8. That's our slot today. Any big debates in the ETR Slack? Any, meaningful rankings movements based off of preseason usage?
This isn't preseason usage so much, but Silva continues to hound me about us having Ricky Pearsall and Matthew Golden close when he has them 4 rounds apart.
Wait, he's still bearish on Golden after all that?
I think he's starting to get a little bit nervous.
Yeah, I would be.
Let me think. The Jacksonville running back situation is obviously a big one that we're trying to figure out. I'm just realizing I have the wrong headphones in. Okay, there we go. Fixed. God, there wasn't been too much crazy debate. We still have constant fears over the Minnesota pass rate. I'm sort of trying to hold everybody firm on that one and say we're okay, but a lot of concern from the room on the Minnesota pass rate.
Yeah. Are you saying you're higher on their pass rate or lower than those guys? Also, we're on the clock here. Puka, Neighbors, Nico, Amon-Ra. Who do you want?
Neighbors
it is. So yeah, where are you on the
I'm
Vikings?
Higher on the pass. Well, our pass rate's a little bit high. It's like not that different from last year, and everybody's worried about it regressing. And like my thing is like we're actually regressing the pass rate a lot to have it the same as last year because they're expected to win like 4 or 5 less games than they won last year. So like game script adjusted, I'm like it is lowered quite a bit from last year. It's just the game scripts aren't, they went 14-3 or something last year. So that's sort of been my pushback. There's been some rumblings and some personnel moves that signal that they might run more 2 tight end stuff, heavy personnel. They might run a little bit more. So I think that's reasonable. But I also think if you look at the full range of outcomes, it's maybe more volatile than people think. So I'm like kind of concerned. But I also see a scenario where they do throw as much as they did last year, and then they're in more negative game scripts, and then it's like a really high pass rate, and like it's a huge win. So I don't want to like go all the way to the bear case side of things.
Yep. All right, we are back on the clock here. Do we get our big dog, Brock Bowers, or Ladd?
Probably. I mean, I'd go big dog, and
big dog's a faller here. Big dog Neighbors combos. You don't see those every day.
Yeah, kind of boring just taking the ADP. I think both those picks we had like one person technically ranked higher, but on the ADP stuff, that's how I would have drafted it.
I was hanging out with some normal uninitiated citizens over the weekend, and they were asking me, what I did, and, started talking about fantasy football. And one of the ladies said to me, she asked me who my favorite player was. And then I asked her, and they're like New England based. And she said, Derrick Henry. And I was like so taken aback, not a quarterback, not a local play. And she basically just went on a monologue about him just being a beast and shoving it down everybody's throats year after year. And I was like, you're telling me. So, I'm sold. Everybody's telling me Derrick Henry, wherever I go in life, Mike.
Big dog, no matter what.
What do you think about this? I didn't even get to pull it up earlier. Mookie had highlighted where Chase Brown went in our first draft. It was early second. He goes at pick 18 here. I don't even find that crazy, but have you guys moved any Chase Brown ranks? Are you going to be able to get him at these new prices?
We've been pretty high on him the whole way. So we have him 20th ranked overall player. So we don't have him too far off. What's pick 20 there? That's kind of close to where he went, right? I guess.
Yeah, he went 18. He went 18.
So you still get some Chase Brown with our ranks for sure. I did my first home league auction yesterday, and I was like, oh, Chase Brown is like easy. Like I'll get him a little bit, at a lower cost, and it did not happen. I was kind of surprised by that.
Did you, were you value hounding in that one?
I'm actually going to do you can either call it the nerd version of the solo pod or the virgin version of Adam Levitan's solo pod. I'm starting
I don't know if I want to imagine a world where there's a nerdier version of the, oh no. Okay. So I thought you meant Market Mondays, that Levitan.
No.
That's already pretty nerdy.
Of this solo pod.
Yeah.
No sex jokes on this solo pod from me.
Okay.
But I was going to talk about auctions and how like, I actually am not a value hound necessarily in auctions. But that's off a little bit of a tangent.
I know where you're going there. Definitely more of a studs and duds type of format.
More like, Ross, like I think it's okay to pre-plan stuff a little bit more there. Oh my God. I just hate this range of the
Adams,
draft.
Wilson, JSN, Jaden Daniels. What do you want?
I'd go Adams or Wilson, and I don't have a strong preference. I think Adams is probably the better.
Yeah. We can do Adams here. He's falling a little bit these days, I assume, because of the Matt Stafford uncertainty. Have you guys made any adjustments on this Stafford stuff, baking in any risk?
We have a little bit. So we've bounced back and forth from no docs to like some bigger docs, and then we're kind of in between. I think our current stance is like we're pretty confident he's ready week 1 to go, but there's maybe a bit more elevated risk of him being injured than the average starting quarterback. So we've kind of docked the ceiling odds for the primary skill players there just to sort of reflect that downside risk. It's been tough for me because I'm a little bearish Kerrane in a vacuum. So I'm like, oh, this is a reason to avoid Kerrane, but I'm like super bullish Puka. So I'm like, well, Puka's just so good. It doesn't matter. It's like, it's hard not to be biased with how you interpret that information.
Yeah, segmenting it out there, where it's like the quarterback play is only going to be bad for one of them, but not the other. We start Neighbors, Henry, Adams here. Kerrane does go at 310. I think there is like, I had noticed Kerrane starting to slip. Then he gets the big contract, and then everyone's like, no, we're good. We're good. He got paid. We can continue to draft him. We got
Is Cook going to get paid?
Cook, yeah, he goes at the 3-4 turn here, which definitely a little pricier. I got him at the 4-5 turn in my first draft this morning. We still have a few of those hold-in situations. Cook, McLaurin, some interesting ones there. Let's see what we're looking at here in the early 4th. Of course, Breece Hall, Teteroy McMillan goes. Jaden would also be available here. So do you like? I'm guessing you're a Breece or Daniels guy here.
I am Breece or Daniels. I think I like Breece. I'm still trying to, that's one obviously we're talking through with that preseason usage sort of being what you would have feared if you're a Breece Hall bull, which is like, he's not a workhorse and they're really going to like rotate these backs. And they've kind of made some comments indicating that. And it's been until the first preseason game, I think it's been a little bit easier to maybe earmuffs those comments and be like, no, it's Breece Hall. It's going to be fine. But I still think he's just really, really talented. So I'm buying the dip a little bit on Breece, but it's one that I need to think through. Where are you at on it?
Yeah, we were talking that through. Pat, gave his State of the Union since he's been a big Breece Hall bull. I was, when I pulled up the preseason usage this morning, it wasn't as bad as like Twitter had made it out to be. It was mainly just kind of like Isaiah Davis being in the mix as like a third guy definitely is a little concerning, but the snaps, rush attempts, routes, with Breece leading in all of them. I do want a discount, but I'm perfectly content taking Breece Hall in this range. Like, I guess the counter, and people have made this comp, is like, is he just James Cook on a worse offense? And do you want a better price for that?
Yeah, he's going to catch more balls than James Cook, though, for sure. And
yeah.
But we got a discount, right? I mean, with all the warts on the third-round wide receivers, Breece was starting to move up to like almost early third because no one wanted to take these receivers, kind of like where Hampton went. And now he's back to, middle of the 4th. So,
yeah. If you want to get the chat mad at you, you take Breece Hall these days. Breece, like Braylon Allen, doesn't have his whole life ahead of him. Breece over Jaden. Jaden has MVP potential. When Underdog starts giving out a bonus for your players winning the MVP, I will start heavily considering taking quarterbacks in round 2.
We will draft differently. It's crazy, the preseason stuff. Like, you really want to find the middle ground between, you want to react to it, but like there's a reason you have priors, right? You're not going to move on the same bit of information in 2 different scenarios. You might interpret differently or move things differently. Like, the Kyle Manon guy getting these rumblings about, his role being good. Like, we're still hanging on to our priors there a little bit. Travis Hunter. I'm going with the
wow, this guy really does say, give me rookies or give me death. But yeah, I think that, and it's funny to see the swings. Like we were talking, Trevion Henderson went mid to early 4th in both my early drafts. He falls back to 5.5 here. When you look at the usage, it's like, this is kind of what we should have expected, but you pay the preseason highlight tax on a lot of these guys.
Yeah, and I think that's something Gretsch is pretty good at, is like he has these priors, so like he's can be firm on like how he's taking in the news, based on the priors, but you're not just like ditching the priors like if you've liked Tuden this whole offseason, you're not just like all of a sudden throwing Tuden stock out the window because it looks like he's not going to start. Like either you had unrealistic expectations going in, or you're like not anchored to your priors enough. If like, Tuden playing late in a preseason game has totally shifted what you think, if that makes sense.
For sure. Sam says, I've never seen people pretend to care more about the preseason than this year. This is like an overall trend. Every year as fantasy football and best ball gets bigger and bigger and more people have skin in the game, the intensity around these things gets greater. If you think this was a big deal, wait until the first quarter of the first game of the year. You want to talk about takes flying, like it is going to be an absolute shit show on Twitter on that opening game. Debo, Joe Burrow, Diggs, you got someone you like here?
Man, I kind of like, I've been going Judy a lot too. Okay, we timed out. That's on me. That's on me. That's just on me. That's just a bad. That's on me.
Debo was at right at ADP. He was the top suggestion there. Definitely would have been. I mean, it's kind of a flat tier there in this.
I still love that range, which is why. Yeah.
Well, next time too. I mean, I think it's definitely possible to pull up some guys into that range now too, if you don't like them. Also,
especially in redraft, like.
Oh yeah.
In best ball, there's some like floor argument with Debo that, and even Diggs to an extent, but in redraft, like Igbuka goes a few picks later. That's one that I might just be making there in round 6. Usually you wouldn't have to take him in a round 6 redraft because the prices are just so different. But like compared to the receivers that just went, like I think Igbuka is like not totally off there.
Yeah. And in Igbuka and Golden now going earlier and earlier here. Pick 68 for Igbuka, pick 70 for Golden. And yeah. I think we're going to see these guys at the 5-6 turn by the time, stuff locks. So I just think if you want to take those guys at pick 65 now, I don't see the issue with it. Shout out to everyone. Why we got 843 people watching live here as we enter the home stretch of drafting. We are now less than 80 subs away from hitting 20K. So if we could get 77 more subs here, we can cross that 20K threshold. Appreciate everyone who's watched, whether it was at the start of the summer here, or you're just joining us now as you guys get ready for your drafts. It's a great time to be drafting.
Did we discuss this double elite quarterback team?
That's what I did want to pull. Yeah. So the 2-hole started Bijan and then went Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. It's so funny seeing this. I'm having a triggering thing because I went out for a walk yesterday and did an eliminator draft, and I got a call and I timed out my 2nd and 3rd round pick. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, who both also have the same bye week. It's like you're going to do double elite quarterback and they have the same bye week. And at first I was like, my instinct, Leone, was to push the plane. And I said, no, I'm going to dig out. And I sat there and I drafted that dead team out of pure stubbornness. Okay. We are back on the clock. Laporta is the slight ADP voller. Obviously Jaden Reed falling on the boot. What do you want?
Yeah, I think Laporta is like our highest rank too. So I've got a lot of Laporta this season. I think he bounces back from last year's extremely slow start last year, but he really finished the season pretty strong. Team probably has a bit more pass volume overall. I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing because it means they're probably not scoring 1 million touchdowns again. So I don't want to overrate that point, but it does help with some of the volume stuff for Laporta. Basically, if you're going to regress the points scored for them, you should be offsetting that at least a little bit with increased pass attempts for the team. Like low key though, a team does like Allen Lamar, it does shift the supply and demand at quarterback a little bit. So that's like back of my mind on us maybe wanting to go a touch earlier on our QB stack. I'm not saying here, but just later on.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. Luckily with kind of like Lawrence and Goff, we should be able to get those guys. But yeah, let's keep tabs on that. So our team so far here, we got Derrick Henry and Breece Hall, 4 wide receivers, Neighbors, Adams, Hunter and Debo, and then Laporta at tight end. We're kind of in this gross range wide receiver. You're looking at the Pittman, Shakir, and Cooper Kupp range. Quarterback, I don't think Kyler does anything for this team. Running back, you're at the Warren, Tyrone Tracy, and I don't think we would do a tight end here.
Yeah, I think I kind of like Jalen Warren here.
Yeah.
We can do a 4 or 5 running back team. I know we have Shakir highest ranked, and I think it's fine, but he's got the high ankle sprain, and I don't know. This is another spot of the draft that I don't absolutely love. And sometimes if I don't go Warren here, I end up in a weird spot with running back, like where I just really don't feel confident in my third. And then it's like, I don't know, it just ends up being a strange build for me.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Have you been pushing up? I was clicking a ton of Skattebo. Then the injuries hit, and so I've been trying to swing back around and grab some Tracy. Obviously, this would have been maybe slightly early for him. Are you trying to get some Tracy in this range?
Yeah, I'm a little bit annoyed at myself because I did a whole bunch of slows a few weeks ago where there were several times where Tracy was kind of our highest ranked player, and I was like, and I didn't take him. And now I'm like, man, it would be nice to have Tracy exposure at that cost. But I did come into the offseason a little bit higher than the market on Tracy, where I think there might be a little bit more upside than people think there. Is like, it's a year 2 back who was pretty efficient year 1 and hasn't played the position for a long time. So, like if he came back around, I wouldn't even mind doing that, and then ending up with a higher quantity of wide receivers to sort of offset us not going back to the 5th for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I've been doing, Pat and I did a 5 wide receiver early build and then just tacked on a 6th very late. I think with Neighbors, Adams, Hunter, Debo, obviously there's a lot of volatility with Hunter. But I still think there's a pretty strong up top wide receiver room in a way that I'm not too panicked, even though we're about to enter like 4 rounds of, not loving the available options here. The team so far: Neighbors, Henry, Devontae Adams, Breece Hall, Travis Hunter, Debo Samuel, Sam Laporta, Jalen Warren. RJ Harvey did fall still here to the 6th round, pick 61 there. The ADPs are really starting to be in flux. Like Rome goes 60 here. Pat and I got him at pick 74 in our draft right before you came on. So yeah, this is a really good time to either, double down or get some big values as drafters overreact here.
Yeah, there's a lot more volatility in the rooms.
And speaking of Tyrone Tracy, he does come all the way back here. If Fields is also on the board,
I think I'd go Tracy. I do like the faller here, and then kind of it'll be just like one lotto ticket running back very late as our 5th.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, Tracy. That's the other fun thing about some of this stuff. It's like, even with the news, sometimes you still get good deals. Like in my first draft, I got ETN at 112. And I'm like, man, after that great preseason game, I thought he would be going at least at his ADP. Same with like the Tracy stuff breaking for him. Interesting that he falls to pick 104. But yeah, happy to scoop him up as our 4th running back. We also have the teammate correlation with Neighbors, which I always like getting in there as well.
Yeah, I like that. Just betting on the Giants offense being solid. Probably looking quarterback here.
Yeah, Fields does go right after we picked. We see a few wide receivers go. Brock Purdy goes. And I do agree with you. This is where they can really start to fly off the board. If you're not careful, Drake May goes. And let's see what options we have here. Warren is a little bit of a faller. He goes finally. So yeah, if you wanted to lock up a quarterback, are you thinking Goff or
Goff went, which I had missed at first. Is there any chance Burden comes back if we went Caleb here, and then we could try and get Lawrence later?
I doubt it.
Back door.
I doubt it, but we could also push it. You want to grab Burden?
I was thinking Caleb first, and then
that
too risky? Just on
let's try it.
stuff.
We can try it.
Because Loveland's gone. I'm guessing Loveland's gone, right? Or
no, he's not.
So we got a. Yeah, this is a long stretch. We'll see.
Yeah,
maybe
there
I'm
haven't been
too much
discounts on those guys in the drafts this morning, but we can guess what? We will be in good company because I had a panic pick in my first draft and ended up with naked Caleb Williams. So that could be the theme of this show is naked Caleb Williams.
That's so funny the way that works out that you did that earlier. And now I feel like a couple times I put you like in this spot where you're like, I don't want to be in this spot again. And then
yes.
And there goes Burden.
Burden goes one after. But yeah, I do think getting a quarterback there within that window is right. It's just like, can you stomach, reaching for Lawrence, or when you factor in the correlation with Hunter, it should Lawrence, eclipse Caleb Williams. Like that goes back to like, how big is the correlation boost affecting like the rankings?
Yeah. We're also, if people are worried on Stafford, we kind of made the bet that Stafford's going to be okay by taking Adams. So we've got Stafford real late. You've got Jackson Dart super late.
Yes. This is Caleb Williams day because then Pat and I took Caleb on our Rome team. So way too much Caleb Williams, which terrifies me.
When we get round 17, Roshan Johnson for the Caleb stack.
There you go. This is a good. What have you guys done with the? We haven't talked obviously since the Keenan signing there. Imwald asking, what pick will you start clicking Tre Harris now? He goes 117 here, which is still too rich for my blood. But do you have a good price for him?
That's too rich. We're also getting a little more optimistic on Quentin Johnston. I think we might even be too low on Quentin Johnston, maybe buried him too much on the Keenan stuff because it seems like it's hard to. I think Quentin Johnston's going to play ahead of Tre Harris to start. It just Harris is probably still the better second half bet, but we've got him ranked 136 now and QJ 174. I could see even that being a little bit tighter of a gap between Harris and Quentin Johnston, so maybe more like the 140s for Harris.
The Loveland dream dies at 114.
Damn, for a second there, I was like, this might happen.
Yes. I will say we can get Trevor Lawrence here, though.
Yeah, we got to just take Lawrence anyways. Maybe it's for the best.
It's for the best. All right, so we get Lawrence here stacked up with Hunter. We got naked Caleb, which is the theme of this show. Had we gone Lawrence there, you're kind of looking at an interesting, I don't even know. I guess we're probably taking like a fifth running back at that point. I mean, there's like no wide receivers to take.
The real question is is probably more Tracy versus Fields and then like waiting on the stack. But then we might have been feeling like we had to take Lawrence right away where we took Caleb anyway. So I don't know.
Will you expand on specifically getting a little more bullish on QJ? Where is that coming from relative to the Keenan signing? And
I guess more bullish to maybe not because of the Keenan signing, but after the preseason game and just some information that seems like he's maybe like pretty locked in with the ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so did you have,
did Harris maybe beating him out?
Yeah, what rank? I can see right here. Tre Harris. So yeah,
our rank's pretty low on both of them.
Do I see? Is this right? Is it 113? That might be a name matching error, honestly. Is that?
I think
you guys have him at
the actual rank should be in that number next to him because we have him at 136, I believe.
136. Yeah, I don't know why that's showing up in the ranks as lower. Anyways, we're back on the clock here. Jordan Love is the faller. Dalton Kincaid, Keenan Allen are also here.
I think Kincaid.
Okay. I think Kincaid looks solid here as an ADP value as our second tight end.
Yeah, it's a 2 tight end team then. We got to start hitting some receivers.
I think this is a good note for your index matching and ranks team, Leone. He's now has that apostrophe or whatever.
Thank you.
There you go. And you said it couldn't get any nerdier here. We're fixing name matching issues. Here's the
I'm
team
literally
while
writing down the
Leone
note.
lets the Slack note a picture. It's been a big bugaboo for me too. Like I've been using the RotoViz command center when we were doing our FFPC drafts, and I'm always like, Tre Harris is available at pick 190. And it's like, no, he actually went, and it's just a name matching error. Caleb Williams and Trevor Lawrence. The chat continues to try to get me on Cole Kmet, Olamide, Zacchaeus. Sometimes it's just okay to stack. We don't have to force a stack, guys. Derrick Henry, Breece Hall, Jalen Warren, Tyrone Tracy, Malik Neighbors, Devontae Adams, Travis Hunter, Deebo Samuel, and then Sam Laporta and Dalton Kincaid. What have you been, speaking of like some of these other injured guys, and I'll go to your Bills homer with Shakir, obviously Spears. How are you handling some of these like early season ankle guys?
Yeah, it's tough because I think like the missed games maybe isn't high, but generally these guys take a little bit of time to, you know, be back to 100%. So we've docked them kind of maybe assuming they miss 1 to 2 games, but then assuming that they're maybe a little bit lighter in terms of effectiveness for another 1 to 2 games. That still leaves us ahead of market on Shakir because we were ahead of market to start. So we've dropped him and the market's dropped him. So we're still a little bit ahead of market there. And Spears, we've dropped a little bit more meaningfully. We were already behind market on him, and now we're like even a little bit further behind. Oh God, Brendan, this is not our best correlation draft here because I don't think we should go third tight end. God, these receivers, we need some receiver love. What do you think, Peter? Did I lose you? You're muted. This is why you're not talking.
Sorry, I put QJ in at the last second because we've been talking about him, even though our rank wasn't there. Sorry, yeah, we didn't get to talk that out. I think the next pick we could just do is if you want to do Stafford as the third QB.
Yeah.
And then were you debating like Strange as the third tight end?
We just really needed a wide receiver, I think. kind of made our bed with 2 tight ends. And especially because like we're probably, if we get Stafford, we're doing 3 QBs. Maybe Kincaid, we should have just gone. I don't know. I'm used to my comfy Romeo Dobbs just being there around later. And now, you know, he went before us. Yeah,
Romeo Dobbs at pick 135. Jaden Reed in a walking boot is going to destroy the Romeo Dobbs value.
Where we took QJ is where I generally just have been slamming Romeo Dobbs all off season. So I was thrown off. I didn't have a backup plan.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. So we could do the Strange thing again if he's still here. Oh, Stafford goes. Oof. But we can figure out QB3 later. Wide receiver, you're looking by ranks. It's Wandell, Bash Bryant, Knoll. This could be a Wandell team for sure.
I don't know if I think we have the solver ranks are right. I don't think you have our ranks uploaded though. Do you?
Oh, I need to go check that. Who do you want to do here?
Let's just take the correlation. We're panicking. Let's just take the correlation on Strange. Maybe we'll just go to.
Maybe I never brought these over. My bad. Let me get these uploaded.
All good. I don't know.
I thought I uploaded these.
Maybe you did. Maybe.
All right, we're back. At least I
thought we had. Those might have been right.
You were it. You know, it's like you enter that range of the draft and you say,
"I don't want any of these players."
I know. So here's the team here. After some chaotic picks here, 2, 4, 5, 3, Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, Derrick Henry, Breece Hall, Jalen Warren, Tyrone Tracy at running back, Neighbors, Devontae Adams, Hunter, Deebo, QJ at wide receiver, Laporta, Kincaid, Strange at tight end. I think we could always do an Aaron Rodgers with Warren. We could do a Jackson Dart with Tracy and Neighbors. So we're not completely.
I think we should. It's also not the end of the world if we go 2 quarterbacks. I know it's pretty it sucks to have two quarterbacks with one of them unstacked, though, is sort of the annoying part to lose that correlation. But I think we
not
need some...
after we get Roshan Johnson right here, and then it's no longer unstacked.
We could go Roshan and just finish up with receivers.
Yeah.
Noel's probably a good fit for this team. Just
Noel's
like
a good fit for every
pick.
team, Michael. Always a good fit. Okay. Roshan does go because that's just what this draft is going to be. Alec Pierce could be good if you want to sell me on Adam Thielen, or we could just do Null.
I might sell you on Adam Thielen just because we're going to take ADP value and then just go pure upside bets the rest of the way.
Let the record show that Leone wanted Adam Thielen over the rookie. He once said, give me rookies or give me death. And today he chose death.
I chose death. That's where I'm at. I feel like this draft has just not broken very great for us, though, in terms of the pockets of players that have been available and like the positions we've needed. It has not aligned well for us.
Do you want to squeeze in a redemption draft here?
Yeah, we need a redemption.
All right. I'm gonna get that going here. If you want to join us for a redemption draft, and I'm gonna let Ian know we might just be a few minutes behind.
Tell him I screwed up and we need to make up for it.
Okay.
Oh my God, there goes Noel. I thought we were gonna get Noel coming back.
Nope. No nice things for us on this draft, but we must land the plane. We must land it. Yeah, case of the money. This has been not my cleanest drafts today. 2, 4, 6, 3. We're looking at wide receivers and running backs for now. Alec Pierce does come back. We do have some correlation opposite Jacksonville week 17.
Yeah, let's grab that. And then maybe Bryant will come back or Besh. I just think we need like a rookie profile in this room.
Travis Hunter is not enough. We need more.
He's not enough.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm overreacting. We did have 4 through 6. It just, we deviate. We just went away from it for so long that I'm like, oh, this team needs a lot of wide receivers.
Yeah. The, is Pete just Davis in disguise? I mean, this is literally going to be Wednesday, Leone. I didn't know if you heard for randomizer this week. Davis is going to host as me, and I'm going to be the guest as Davis for the randomizer on Wednesday.
I'm excited for that.
All right, here's the team so far. Oh, we're on the clock. We're going to get Justin or Barkley in this first draft at 1-4. Yes, I know you're good with that. We're juggling a lot right now, everyone.
Nothing's going well.
We are using the ETR Solver draft assistant tool right now.
We're not using it enough. For it right now.
Yeah, you got this fancy overlay and still can't get your picks in time. Here's the team that we're wrapping up. Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence, Derrick Henry, Breece Hall, Jalen Warren, Tyrone Tracy, Neighbors, Adams, Hunter, Debo, QJ, Thielen, Alec Pierce, Laporta, Kincaid, and Strange. So we have 2 more picks, Leone. And we could use a quarterback, running back, and wide receiver.
Are we going to go dart or?
It's what do you think this team needs most? Do you think this is are we done at running back with 4 here and going third quarterback? And
I think we've painted ourselves into a corner where we might have to say these 4 running backs are going to take us to the promised land. I don't know.
I think that's although Shipley here at 200 does look nice.
Just take Will Shipley.
I think we rock with this this wide receiver room. I think Neighbors, Adams, Hunter, Debo, QJ, Thielen, Pierce is fine.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. Sometimes you do get into a spot where you feel like, oh, I need to, add to this room or whatever, and then you got to think though, like based on the available players, like what is this player really doing for me?
Yes, this morning I feel like I've been asking that question a lot. Here,
I just saw we just had an update in our Slack that Stafford isn't practicing today, and it sounded like the plan was for him to practice today. So that doesn't.
Well, we dodged a bullet, Leone. I mean, we didn't dodge a bullet when we selected Davante Adams, but
Yeah,
we dodged
we
a bullet when we were going to select Matthew Stafford. All right, let's wrap up this team. Do you want? I mean, Aaron Rodgers with Warren, or Dart with Neighbors and.
No, we're taking Jackson Dart.
Wow, he's trying to win
Give
everybody
me
back.
rookies or give me death.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna
All right,
make
we're
this
done
pick.
with this team.
We're gonna make this pick. I'm gonna do a quick recap. All right, Chase Brown here at pick 21. JT T Higgins. Who do you want?
Chase Brown.
Chase Brown. Okay. Let's put a bow on this team and be done with it once and for all. Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence, Jackson Dart. Second Caleb Williams team of the day. Derrick Henry, Breece Hall, Jalen Warren, Tyrone Tracy, and Will Shipley chasing there. Malik Neighbors, Davante Adams, Travis Hunter, Deebo Samuel, QJ, Adam Thielen, Alec Pierce. Man, that string of wide receivers. This is how you don't earn any fans. QJ, Adam Thielen, and Alec Pierce. And then 3 tight ends, Laporta, Kincaid, Brenton Strange. This team will never be talked about again.
Until it makes the finals. And we act like it was all part of a plan.
Okay.
Now
Let's
I'm
see
going to
here.
make
Can
you
we
draft
get
a 3 running back team.
Let's do it. Jacobs want to fall to us here?
I would take Jacobs if he fell.
He does. Let's rip it. Let's rip it. We're back.
Hell
High
yeah.
T, dialed in,
It feels
locked
so
in.
good.
Barkley, Chase, Josh Jacobs. Man, Josh Jacobs
Whoa.
falling to 28. Why? Why is that happening? This team stormed the Capitol, as Mac Nova says here. All right. Did I see you did you do a main event draft the other day with Dink? I saw the team. It looked pretty good.
We did. There was an insane team in our league.
That was better than yours.
It took Kyron Williams at the 7th overall pick.
Oh, insane that way. Okay.
Insane
So
that way. And then I think the rest of the team is, with the exception of maybe Josh Allen, was all rookies or sophomores, which was kind of confusing because you wouldn't think that would correlate with the person who wants to take Kyron Williams 7th. And then people in the chat, like a lot of comments were talking about how the draft needed to be thrown out. And I'm like, like it wasn't even close to a draft that would be thrown out. Like the person was really, I think they were horrible, but they were like that's how they want to spend their money.
They
like
weren't,
they
weren't colluding.
tanking. Yeah, they weren't colluding. They weren't tanking the draft. They just probably weren't very good at fantasy football.
I mean, they heard Kyron Williams just got paid. They got to go get your guys. You got to go get your guys.
Get your
Hero
guys.
chaperone. All right, Rob, you sent the super chat in, so I will try this quickly. We stay Boolin. Quick review here. Gibbs, Bowers, very fun. Higgins, JMO. You get Henderson in the 5th. Igbuka, Aaron Jones, buy the dip, slurp it up on Shakir. Goff with JMO, the slot demon. Were you just trying to get me to say his name? Because well played if you were, but I'm not fucking falling for it. You come back and get Stroud. Sampson at pick 140 seems great. Pop, Hunter Henry going with the New England stack without May. Jalen Wright, post Madison news. Besh at 188. De'Ami Brown there, classic chaperone. And Curtis Samuel just pandering to Michael Leone. Looks like a pretty good team to me. Maybe would have entertained a 3rd quarterback on this build, but well done, Rob, even though you tried to get me to say a name.
Yeah, also clearly trying to snipe us. Took Bash right after I talked to him. Took De'Ami Brown before we could complete the stack. On to you, Rob. On to you.
It's not cool, my man. Not cool. But here we are. Barkley, Chase Brown, Jacobs. This is the redemption draft here with Mike Leone. After this, a little bit later, Ian Hartitz will be joining us for a couple of drafts. Excited to catch up with him. But we got to get our mojo back, baby.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Nothing with an extreme structure.
Holy cow, Davante Adams just fell to 4-7 in this one.
Wow, I guess it's McLaurin, right? Oh my God,
well,
Kittle's
McLaurin's been falling. I think
Kittle's
you go Kittle or Daniels and then see if, because McLaurin's been falling legit to the 5th. Like we might be able to get the Daniels McLaurin if you want to try that.
Let's try the Daniels McLaurin.
Yes, let's give it a shot. There's zero guarantees.
What you got to do when you start 3 running backs is take a gamble that you'll be able to stack the elite quarterback in the 4th round. That's how.
Look,
I don't know if you know this, but Andrew has pointed out that we're going to be playing catch up on wide receiver.
this is breaking news. I don't know why I did ESPN highlights music with breaking news. But yes, we will be hammering the wide receiver spot here. Let's see. Barkley, Brown, Jacobs, Daniels. This is how best ball was intended to be played.
Oh, there it goes.
Come on, Don.
Nice.
Jeez, Don. Imagine taking McLaurin at 412 when he's routinely in the mid 5th.
Unstacked. If you lost your mind.
Now we get the chance to see if we can get Debo at pick 69.
Nice.
All right. We're going to go over to wide receivers. That is for sure the only option here positionally.
This guy's got to go Devontae Smith, right? I mean, it's just a first game up here.
Devontae, Metcalf, Ridley, Waddle, Zay. We just did Hunter. Who do you like?
No, I like Devontae. I'm assuming this person's going Devontae. I think they have
Waddle. All right.
I think Devontae.
Devontae with Barkley. I think it makes sense.
Don't we have? Do they play each other somewhere in the playoffs too, or did I make that up?
Who?
Philly and Washington.
Yeah, they play Philly week 16.
Okay.
There you go.
Do you have? I always ask you this. Do you have the playoff widget? Sometimes I like to look at that.
Yeah, right here. Sorry.
There it is.
Yep.
Okay, nice.
Philly double, and then the Washington so far. So we get Jaden, no McLaurin coming back, but we shall survive. Barkley, Chase Brown, Josh Jacobs, and Devontae Smith here. Yeah, Don, you just realized you're in this room. I just realized I'm pissed at you for not letting us have McLaurin. He's also, though, he comes in peace. He says, shout out ETR.
All right, Don.
A hell of a weekend. Wow.
Back in our good graces.
Wow.
Wow, Travion went 4-2.
Yes. Yeah, he is. He's been all over the place today. From early 4th to mid 5th. Did you watch, Leone? Did you watch preseason football? I was asking in the chat how much preseason football they watched over the weekend.
I watched highlights on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I watched.
I think that's good. Don't try to get me to say this. Breaking news: Slot Demon not at practice. All right. Yeah, and then there's your Matthew Stafford news update. Won't practice today. Hollywood Brown making progress toward return.
Dude, that's early for Laporta, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, pick 60 is definitely early for Laporta. All right, here we go. We start Barkley, Brown, Jacobs, Daniels, Devontae Smith. Zay Flowers falls to pick 63. Dude. Wow.
That's who we got in our main event was Zay. As we took, I think we only took one wide receiver in the first 4 rounds because we had like Bowers, Nico, JT, Jaden Daniels. And to get, I don't know, the Zay fall is just such a gift. I think he's just so talented. I don't understand it.
Yep. Debo goes, which is a little bit of a bummer, but we will be able to get one of the rookies here, Igbuka or Golden. There's also some of these other veterans, Jennings, Judy, Myers, but I promise you Golden and Igbuka won't come back. What would you like to do here?
Igbuka here.
Let's do it.
And I also know that this team is just going to beg for Adam Thielen later so we can take some shots on Rook because we're going to be taking like 9 wide receivers probably.
Yeah.
And as disappointed as we are, with not getting Deebo Samuel, I know you're probably pretty hyped to draft Zach Ertz later. So
always. I guess one slight tiebreaker for Golden over Igbuka, if you have them close, would have been the bye week since we had a 3rd week 9 bye there. But we also had Golden with Jacobs, but whatever.
Yeah, you might be right. That maybe should have been Golden structurally. I was just picking the player I prefer more.
Yeah. Barkley, Brown, Jacobs, come back and grab Jaden Daniels. We get Devontae Smith, Igbuka. There was a question in the chat, I think it was in hindsight, would you have rather have had Jalen Hurts on this team? knowing that Devontae comes back and we don't get Terry. Would you make that swap here if you could?
Yeah, probably in hindsight.
Wow. That was such a sad
No,
thing, but maybe you can be.
I
maybe
might have just gambled on the receiver first in hindsight,
Hmm.
just because we started with 0 receivers through 3 and then taking the quarterback. I guess that's maybe what I would have done in hindsight.
Judy goes, Jacoby Myers, Reed Downs.
I mean, this team's just begging for Jacoby Myers after.
Okay.
I know it's boring, but I think it's the right pick.
All right, we'll do it. Jacoby there. I was going to be pretty excited for Judy at pick 76, but we can get Jacoby Myers here.
Yeah, Judy's like the more fun version of the Jacoby Myers pick.
Also, we ruined the integrity of Best Ball Mania by letting Joe Burrow fall all the way back to Don in the one hole with Chase Higgins and McBride. He slapped it up with the chalk week 17 correlation, and we didn't punish him. We should have just ruined our team to prevent that from happening. Let's see here. 3 wide receivers after a 3 running back and Jaden Daniels start. Ian will be joining us here in about 25 or 30 minutes. This is a redemption draft. Someone had a question for you on some homer picks here. Leone, thoughts on Shakir, Coleman, Palmer, the passing game?
I sigh because I just don't really know. I don't want to pretend like I have conviction just because I'm a Bills fan. I think all of them collectively are a little bit undervalued just because I think last year was kind of a nut low outcome for the pass catchers. I think it could be more condensed this year. I think they probably have to throw a little bit more. But I don't know if any of these guys individually is like super mispriced relative to the other. Like, I think they probably go in the right order. I'm a little higher on Coleman than our room. You know, he had an okay year 1. He just missed some time with the wrist injury. And that's the guy that probably has some upside. I just don't know if he can separate enough to earn enough volume that he might just be like, you know, fancy Gabe Davis. It might be his upside case. So I'm pretty torn on I think they're all like I said, collectively a little bit undervalued. I'd throw Kincaid into that group too. But I don't know, but I don't think one of them is like a clear smash or avoider, which I know is boring.
Do you think they should flip like they did here? Coleman goes 80, Shakir goes 88?
Probably not. I mean, Shakir is still probably a pretty heavy favorite to out target Coleman down the stretch, even with like the year 2 stuff. So I don't think they should flip.
You want to slurp up the Dipperino on Jaden Reed?
Oh yes, that's exactly what this team needs.
Is a guy in a walking boot?
Guy in a walking boot. That's what we want.
Oh man!
Again,
God damn,
setting up
walking.
I'm just trying to design a team that requires Adam Thielen for the 2nd straight draft.
That's right. I mean, it is the thing, you know, someone in the chat talking about, you know, Igbuka as your wide receiver too. I mean, this is what happens in a hyper fragile build. You are going to make up for your lack of quality wide receivers with quantity. And I do think it allows you to take some big swings on rookies, maybe on some injured guys, because you're saying, hey, I'm going to need the firepower late to win Best Ball Mania. Guys like Igbuka and Jaden Reed, they can provide that. And then I'll just make up for their lack of early season production with some target chasing in the mid to late rounds. And there are guys that we can chase as we build out, you know, a 9 wide receiver type room. So I'm less worried about like the specific profiles, like super early in a hyper fragile build.
Yeah, because this is probably like a 2-4-9-3.
Yeah, and like speaking of that, would you want to grab Baker and shut it down at quarterback, or does like a Cooper Kupp make more sense for this team?
I think maybe Kupp makes more sense. I'm also like thinking like there might be some Jordan Love in our future.
Love or Geno, leave those open. Yeah.
I rarely take Kupp, but I think it makes sense here.
I took Kupp in my first draft, and someone said, Pete, are you worried that Cooper Kupp isn't JSN? And I said, yes, I am worried that Cooper Kupp is not JSN, and I would like to swap all my Kupp shares to JSN at Kupp prices. Brady, we already did this whole thing about the helmet story, which is the funniest story I've ever heard, that RJ Harvey played with the first team because J.K. Dobbins couldn't find his helmet. And I would be concerned. Yeah. Did you have you guys adjusted and then readjusted the Harvey and Dobbins splits because of helmet gate?
I don't think we did. I think we
stayed firm,
stood pat, and didn't ride the roller coaster.
All right, here's the team so far. 3 running backs, then a quarterback, and then ripped off 5 straight wide receivers: Barkley, Brown, Jacobs, Jaden Daniels, then Devontae Smith, Igbuka, Myers, Jaden Reed, and Cooper Kupp here at pick 100. Redemption. I can taste it. Ian Hartitz joining here in a little bit for a draft. Leone, what other stuff are you guys working on at ETR this week?
I mentioned launching that solo pod. So hopefully have that midweek sometime. And then other than that, honestly, like just grinding rankings. We were going to do a second man versus machine, but we ended up getting through so many players on the first one. We decided not to do that. I think over the next week or two, not this week, but next week and the week after, we'll start hitting a lot of the redraft content, specific strategy for different positions and different draft spots and whatnot.
Do you? I haven't talked to you on stream since the man versus machine episode. Do you think that there needs to be a new kind of judge? Just knowing that Levitan clearly identifies as a man more than machine, and that there's clear bias there.
That, I mean, even Evan looked ashamed at some of those rulings that were being handed down.
Let's see. Should we go tight end here? Loveland goes Kraft or Njoku. We could do Kraft and try to set up the Love double.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
I don't have enough Kraft. I'm very, we're very high on Njoku, but I'm starting to worry that we haven't given Kraft enough love. We boosted some of his ceiling outcomes this morning.
Yeah. Yep. I like that there. So we get our first tight end. Would you have been, say if Loveland had fallen, would you have been Loveland over Kraft for this team, or would that not have changed things?
With Caleb on the board, I think maybe I would have gone Loveland just to maybe see if Caleb
came. My goodness. I think I've drafted enough Caleb for the rest of the drafting season today.
He's been like dropping. I don't know if that's
everybody's scared, myself included. I think there's like real fear that he's just not good.
That's
manifesting in draft boards.
Yeah.
Tyjae Spears,
the Chicago Bears ship, and Ben
you're going to go
Johnson.
down with it. Okay. There's a chance we didn't get sniped on Love. The golden drafter just passed on him. I think we lock up the Love double here.
Yeah, I think we got to.
And look at this. It wasn't on our big dog team, so we don't have the Ravens bring back, but this feels like a redemption team. Jane Daniels and Jordan Love, Barkley, Chase Brown, and Josh Jacobs, Devontae Smith, Igbuka, Jacoby Myers, Jaden Reed, Cooper Kupp, Tucker Kraft. So we have a mega onslaught building here on the Packers. Got up to 5 wide receivers here. I think we're back on the right track.
Yeah, and this is one of those, if you go to the widget or back to the draft room, you can in even the solver system just like X out quarterback. Like we're done at quarterback. You need to totally exit out, and then that will recalibrate everything accordingly.
Okay.
Which is nice. Sometimes when you do the like extreme builds, it admittedly gets a little confused.
Yes.
And you got to take an active hand in terms of how you rate the positions relative to one another.
Mr. Nick, when do you take a 4th running back? When it gets really flat at wide receiver and tight end, and you say, all right, I don't feel good about any of the picks here. But the nice thing about running backs, like when you're going from 12th through the 18th round, there's running backs at all of those junctures. So if anything, I like kind of keeping the running back flexibility in the back pocket, as opposed to if you take a running back, now we're down to just 2 positions that we're drafting the rest of the way. So it's always nice to be able to have, multiple positions available here.
Yeah.
Disbanded says man versus machine needs a panel with 3 judges. I like that. I think it would be a really good bit if it was Levitan and like an AI judge, just like reading the transcripts of the arguments and then asking the robot who made a more compelling argument, and then you get the balance take.
There were some of those where it was like, Levitan would basically outline why I won and then just go, I'm going to give it to Silva.
Yeah. I think he's just more afraid of Silva's wrath than yours is ultimately what that means.
It is. That's the truth.
All right, here we go. We're about to pick at 12-9. At 141, would we want to pull up our stacked tight end here like the assistant is suggesting, or do you want to get a little Kyle Pitts?
Should we just take Dobbs? Are we way off on?
No, we can take Dobbs and just go with like a quadruple stack here.
And then figure it out coming back. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's do Dobbs here. So now we got Reed, Dobbs, Kraft, Jacobs, and Love.
Also, I don't know where your positional limits are set just for later on, but it's possible we blow through the wide receiver positional limits on this team.
I should be good. And if not, it'll lead to our version of a Pat Freiermuth moment. There you go. Okay. We're all in on the Packers. There is the double week 5 bye for Kraft and Kyle Pitts. Hunter Henry, who my guy Chris was asking about thoughts on him, could also be in the mix here. How would you like to play this?
Pitts just went. I think I'd go Ertz. It's a little early, admittedly, but
just lock it up.
I don't think there's a huge discrepancy between him and the tight ends available. The question would be if we just keep piling on receiver, but we're going to.
Yeah, it'd be like Keenan.
Yeah, Keenan or Ertz. You pick Keenan or Ertz.
Ertz is fine. We've denied the chat so much stacking.
We're just
this show. They deserve it. So we take Zach Ertz here. So let's get a quick regrouping on the team. 2-3-6-2. We are all in on the Packers here. Jaden Daniels and Jordan Love, Barkley, Chase Brown, Jacobs. That 3 at the start, still holding it down for us. Devontae Smith, Igbuka, Jacoby Myers, Jane Reed, Cooper Kupp, Romeo Dobbs at wide receiver, and Tucker Kraft and Zach Ertz at tight end here.
So we're getting to the point where we could do 4th RB.
Yep.
And then finish it off with just wide receiver and tight end.
Yeah. What? And almost you didn't even say 3rd tight end. It almost made it seem like you were a little 4th tight end curious right there.
No, I think this is 3. We were early enough with Kraft that I think we're going 3. But it might, I don't know. I say that sometimes that final round pick, it's like the worst wide receivers imaginable. And it's like, well, Pat Freiermuth.
I know. Yeah, Burgundy Bet's talking about the guy in the 8 hole went true 0 RB here. No running backs through 8 rounds. Grabs Sharbs, then Tyler Warren goes Javonte, then pulls up Braylon Allen to 128, Benson to 137. I wrote about this for Fantasy Life last week. I did like a forced to 0 RB team and did like a little draft diary. And it's tough. It's tough to get these mega 0 RB teams to look good in this current landscape.
Man, the switch though from best ball to redraft is always like messes with your mind. You got to be prepared for it. Like you got to start taking some of these running backs in like round 8, even when you're like, how am I possibly taking, these round 11 running backs, 12 running backs in best ball in round 8 ahead of, receivers like Jaden Reed or whatever, but you kind of just have to do it.
Yep. I would say Demario Douglas is a pretty good fit for this team. Anything else you like?
I don't mind the Rachaad White dip. He's day to day, but if we wanted to just go DeMario, I think that's fine too.
Seems like you really want Rachaad White. I'll give him to you.
We got Igbuka there.
I'm not happy about it, but I want you to like it.
I guess. Shit.
What?
I was a hindsight thinking maybe Eckler stacked on the way, but Eckler is such a bad. I don't know. White might be a bad pick for a
Just tell people you don't care about stacking because you just passed on Eckler, you passed on Ja'Cory Cross, get Merritt.
Hey, Rashad White stacked with Emeka Egbuka. We got to balance the exciting player on Tampa Bay with the most boring player on Tampa. It was second most boring. We'll get Kate Otten later to get the most boring player.
Colin says Pete wants to be 4 tight end curious so bad. No. I am 4 tight end curious. Like there's no wanting there. I want to be someone who routinely drafts 4 tight ends so bad because I don't do it, but I am very curious. You cannot take away my curiosity away from me there. All right, let's see here. We are back, and God, you want to draft Adam Thielen again. I know it. Widers, Jonnu, Gesicki.
Where are we at? Okay, this is a tough range. Where's Noel? Can we take Noel, or did he go?
He's gone.
We're taking Jonnu, aren't we? No, he's there. Oh,
no!
Look at no! You had it in time. You had it in.
Blame your ranks. Blame. Okay, you're calling foul on the thing there. All right. It's all right. This team needed Johnny Smith, and you know it.
I thought you had it in and on time.
I did too. I didn't see him. I didn't get it in time. All right. We're gonna make a couple more picks here, and then we're gonna bring our guest Ian from FantasyLife on. We're gonna do a pre-recap here. Get out in front of this. Jaden Daniels and Jordan Love, 4 running backs: Barkley, Chase Brown, Josh Jacobs, and Leone really wanted Rashad White. Devontae Smith, Emeka Egbuka, Jacoby Myers, Jane Reed, Cooper Kupp, Romeo Dobbs, Tucker Kraft, Zach Ertz, and then it should have been Jalen Knoll, but it was Jonnu Smith instead. 3 more picks, and we're already at 6 wide receivers. Do you think this is a 2-4-9-3 or a 2-5-8-3?
I think it's a 2-4-9-3.
Okay.
You know who? Right. There's a couple players that we can really use our imagination on some of these wide receivers later now. When you take 9, you can really talk yourself into anything. So I'm excited for that.
Oh, no. Hang on. I got to scroll up for a comment. I can't. Oh, no. Yeah. So I just want to point out this prophecy from Zach. He said, it brings me no pleasure to report that with Debo gone, this is a Noah Brown-ass team. And I can't help but notice in the draft assistant that Noah Brown is the second potential.
Up there. We can get him round 18.
Yes.
You know who we don't have ranked well, but we're talking about right now and who I kind of like if we want to get off this Adam Thielen-ass vibe is Jalen Coker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Pat and I took him in our draft. I definitely love me some Coke. Don't clip that out of context, please. Family-friendly show. Yes, Tyler, we discussed this in the opening hour. The guy from the main event who drafted Ricky Person instead of Ricky Pearsall. A devastating pick. You got to make sure you're queuing up the guy that got shot and not the running back who I believe is a free agent right now.
I heard like they wouldn't roll back the pick for him.
Yeah.
That seemed NFFC would roll it back, but they've all
NFFC would do a lot of things, Mike.
TG up for that one.
Oh boy, would they do a lot of things. All right, we are back on the clock here. Adam Thielen at 189. What are they doing to us, Mike? Who do you want?
I mean, Thielen's also, we've got some playoff correlation. We could just take Coker though.
We could do both.
We could do Besh and Coker. Okay.
Just Adam Thielen at 189. Just what a great fun time we're having here. All right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna make this pick, and then we are gonna queue up like 4 wide receivers. And I'm gonna push the plane because I'm not gonna keep my guest of honor, Ian Hartitz, waiting any longer here. So let's start thinking here. I'm gonna put Besh in. I'm gonna get Coker here. I'm gonna get Noah Brown for sure in here. Jalen Royals is kind of fun these days. trying to think any other week 17 stuff here. Dallas wide receiver, a little Kavontae Turpin, any Baltimore names?
With Hopkins, I guess, but that's kind of boring.
Do you want to take Coker here at 196?
I kind of like Coker. We got 2 playoff, you know, he's in a couple of this playoff grid, and we're just betting against Leggett now at this point, right? I mean,
yes.
That's part of the advantage too of like the heavy quantity. You can kind of do some positional stacking there, late handcuffing, however you want to call it.
All right, give me a few other names to add to the wide receiver queue before we say goodbye to this team. I'm pretty sure we're going to get Noah Brown if he's here. I'm pretty sure no one would go rogue with that.
I mean, Tesla's had some hype.
Yeah. All right.
Not really a correlation fit. All right, you going to land the plane?
Yes, I'm going to land the plane. I'm going to push it. I'm going to land it. Jaden Daniels, Jordan Love, Barkley, Chase Brown, Josh Jacobs, Rashad White, Devontae Smith, Emeka Egbuka, Jacoby Myers, Jane Reed, Cooper Kupp, Romeo Doubs, Adam Thielen, Jalen Coker, Tucker Kraft, Zach Ertz, Jonnu Smith. I will let you guys who we end up with here. If you subscribe to my premium Substack, it'll just be one post and it'll tell you which pick we made. Leone, good time as always. I will keep an eye out for your new solo pod, and we'll catch you next time on Best Ball Breakfast.
Sounds good. Thanks, man.
All right, peace. All right, it's my guy Nick Westbrook-Ikhine had 9 TDs last year. I need to fact check that stat for
people
you.
forget,
Is that
man.
True? Wow,
it's true. I refuse to change my name until it's people like you understand it, Pete.
I mean, I need to. Hey, if Tyreek Hill gets run out of town, I mean, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, man, that might be the answer. The skeleton.
Waddle and Tyreek had less touchdowns combined than our one true king, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, last year. But maybe it's Malik Washington season now. I don't know.
You are looking good. People are wondering. You look good, but your screen is just a little fuzzy. Your connection here. I don't know if you got any knobs you can twist over there. You're actually coming into focus now. I think you are starting to come into focus.
Hell yeah.
You look tan. You look svelte. I mean, I haven't got to do a stream with you since the randomizer. You're looking good, dude.
All that golf, man. It goes from tan to white in a hurry here. When we're popping the top, but a lot of 18 holes, still not very good, but bad day of golf, still a fun time with the boys on my treadmill. Best ball cardio grind. Dude, honestly, I think 90% of my drafts this year have just been incline walking. I don't know if it's better.
I love it.
Like I've literally had picks mess up because sweat falls on my screen. Like I can't get it done in time, but burn some calories, P. At least one good thing's coming out of it.
Yeah, for sure. And you got the Raiders hat here. We got the Ohio State. This is a new backdrop for you, streaming backdrop as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I used to be more of the close-up headshot, but I was like, I've been told I have a face for radio. So I was like, let's play to our strengths a little bit, back things up here a tad. And but no, it's we have a deal with New Era. So I actually got all 32 hats, which is fun and everything. But I have this just gammo, I like kind of rocking the black hats generally, but I'll just wear different random hats. And when people ask me if I'm a fan of that team, I just got to kind of go with it and, see where the conversation goes. So a lot of weird looks when I'm rocking the Jaguars hats, B-dubs or whatever. But it's a good test of how much you really know.
Yeah, I have that the New Era there as well. I was trying to see if I had an easy access to my Raiders hat, but the problem with having 32 team hats just all jumbled up together is it's hard to find them. All right, this is what we're gonna do. We are in a Best Ball Mania draft, Ian. I believe this is my 109th that we are going to draft together. You said you've been doing the incline ones. Are you getting there on Best Ball Mania, or what's your contest of choice?
Not as much in the Mania. I'm like, shout out Slappies, man. Whatever the cheapest one is, I'm usually just trying to get in there, get some reps in. Because look, $2.5 million, that sounds fantastic. I don't know, man. Like 10 grand sounds pretty freaking awesome too. So we'll see. Hopefully we get it all, but I don't know, man. It feels to me like the lottery almost. Like, and you can also say best ball a little bit like the lottery, but it always cracks me up when the lottery gets to the $900 million. And people are like, now I have to go in and get some tickets. The 600 million was out before. No, but now that's 900. Like, let's get it.
Well, can you imagine if there wasn't like the rules on fantasy where it had to be a guaranteed prize pool and it was more like in flux and it's just like the contest could be as big as it wanted. And it was like, you're like, yeah, I'm sitting out the 2.5 mil. And it's like, well, first place is up to $10 million. You're like, yeah, maybe I will draft one of those on the treadmill.
Why not, man? Why not?
Okay.
Where are you picking?
Let's see here.
5?
We're gonna draft. Yeah, we got the 1-5 here. We can look here at what we like. Chase, Lamb go off the board. So does Bijan. So one of Barkley, Gibbs, or Jefferson, CMC. You got a guy you like here?
Why not take how many 105 teams start with Nico Collins? Or do you think that's just forfeit?
I love you come in here right off the rip, and it sounds like you're hype on Nico. Dude, Nico goes 1-4.
Come on.
Who do you want?
Wow. Fuck. We'll go Gibbs.
Okay. That is the funniest shit. I was like, all right, we're going to do a Galaxy Brain pull up here. And DC Boy says, no. I'm taking Nico Collins 104. Is this your boy? Are you in cahoots with this person?
Not quite, man, but Nico Collins is my boy. Let me check because you got to go out of your way to have high exposure for anyone going this early. But Nico is my third most drafted wide receiver. 20.1%. Is that a reasonable? I've drafted a lot of this guy. Sometimes I see these screenshots and people are like, oh, I'm in. And it's 12%. Can you really, is that allowed? Is that cool? I don't think so.
20% on a first round player is a big stand, in my opinion. A very big
borderline
stand.
Irresponsible, but that's what it's all about.
I think 20%, that's just enough to show this guy's got convictions. I will say this, people saying listener sniped you. Ian said Nico in the pick was made right after that. And there's a slight delay on our recording. I'm like, I think that was just a very bizarre coincidence.
My wiener dog, Deborah, goes by Bruh, is also very upset about that, man. So unreal. Nico, what's the only thing rarer than a Nico 105 team? A Nico 104 team.
I cannot believe you could not recreate that in a million years. If you're like, this is the guy I'm going to pull up 6 spots in round 1 and then have them get sniped here. So congratulations, Ian. This team's going to be special. It's a great day to draft a special team here. We're about to pick at 2-8. Brock Bowers by ADP, he goes. So we're looking at Ladd, JT, Chase Brown is kind of the riser these days. Hill, Jacobs, who do you like?
I'm cool with Ladd. Back at practice. Don't love missing time, but it's also, it was July or whatever. So, they added Keenan Allen. Not really. To me, the Keenan Allen thing just worse for QJ and Tre Harris. I still think Ladd is just such a freaking stud, man. Him, and if you want to put T Higgins in that tier, that's fine too. But after that, that's when it starts getting a little more questionable for me. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even know about the missing practice, but yeah, I don't mind people taking, Bowers has now kind of flipped him, which seems completely fine, but that's a one spot dock to Ladd. I wrote about it in the Fantasy Life newsletter the other day. It's let's move around all the other guys. I'm not really touching Ladd.
And I'll say this with Bowers, because I know a couple years ago I got obsessed with arbitrage pick. Why draft this guy in round 3 when you can get the other guy in round 7? Yeah, there are a lot of examples like that, and that's really cool for the round 7 guy. But just because there's a good value later doesn't mean the more expensive guy can't be a baller as well. So again, I've drafted a lot more Kittle, even McBride, than Bowers. So I get the price point discount, but I also don't exactly want to be sitting here before week 1, without enough Bowers, because that dude is an absolute baller.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing with the Ladd is then people getting a little spooked on the Slater stuff, right? As far as, is that going to impact Herbert? Is that going to, whatever? But it just, to me, there's a clear tier break after Bowers and Ladd. And I guess mileage can vary now with Chase Brown up there, but I want to be getting Ladd still.
The O-line injury Galaxy Brain stuff is wild. For sure. We like the Chargers. We'd love them to have Slater and everything. But couldn't you just sit here and be oh, now without Slater, they're not going to be able to run the ball. Now they're going to have to throw more. Now it's actually a good thing for Ladd McConkey. I feel like you can kind of craft those arguments whatever way you want. Bucky Irving without Twistin Wirfs is better because now he's actually going to have more checkdowns than rush attempts. You can kind of go either way here. Okay.
Marv, Allen, Lamar, Omarion Hampton. What do you like?
Let's go, Josh.
Let's do it.
I kind of like on these teams too, where we only have, one wide receiver, this wide receiver tier range, just the potential pitfalls, scare me off a little bit. And then it's Josh and lesser extent Lamar, the fact that their stacking partners go later anyway, I think it almost sets itself up better for a team that maybe needs to be drafting more wide receivers at that point.
Yeah, and I've been doing this more and more. I do still like Hampton in the 3rd, but when you're stuck with Harrison pulling up JSN, I'm just give me the elite quarterback here. I'm still going to like the wide receiver depth available in these mid rounds. So yeah, I've been forcing myself to get more elite QB here. I'm at like 7% Allen. So yeah, I'd like to be at least even with the field. Have you been reviewing your portfolio in the Fantasy Life Best Ball Hub these days?
Dude, it's freaking hot. You and me were both in those, we had a lot of Friday meetings throughout the off season, just, trying to craft it and get it. Shout out to our dev team for, doing their thing with it. But yeah, man, I'm at a 9% Allen right now. Wouldn't mind, honestly, trying to boost that up a little bit. I thought I was higher, but we still got time.
I know that's the thing too, where it's like, we do still have time. There's a lot of drafts to be had. And yet it's also one of those things where it's these contests. I only have like 40 more bullets left in these in this Best Ball Mania. My top QB, let's see here, is Brock Purdy.
Ooh, he's my 3. Nice.
But look at this. I mean, my quarterback's exposures are flat as a pancake. Brock Purdy and fair. Stroud at 12.3.
That's fair. Stroud was my number 1 for a while, purely because I was drafting so much Nico. It was like, all right. And I was like, someone's asking, why is Stroud your number 1? You believe in him? And I was like, not really. It's just, I believe in Nico. So
yeah. I mean, if you're going to have 20% Nico, you're going to end up with a lot of Stroud. I think that makes sense.
Exactly.
All right. We're about to pick at 4-8
right now, but okay, cool.
This is where you get to decide, are you buying the Breece Hall Dipperino or are you spooked? He's here. Breece Hall, James Cook, DJ Moore. What do you like? JMO's here if you want to go Lions.
Let's go JMO.
Okay. I didn't mean to lead the witness, just saying some options.
No, you're
here.
Good. I was looking at James Cook, but I don't like going him and Josh on the same team necessarily. So if I would have gone running back, probably would have preferred Kenneth Walker at this point. I'm not this preseason usage for Breece. You can kind of go both ways. That's why I love. You guys haven't checked out Dwayne's article on Fantasy Life for free.
Yeah, we've had that pulled up all morning. It's awesome.
Yeah, but like one of the cool things too, and Dwayne explains it and everything. But like when you look at it, we have the snap rates for the starters and stuff. But for the Jets, for example, Breece was done after one drive. So I know we saw more Davis and Braylon than we were necessarily expecting there. But those dudes were also playing the drive 6 and 7 out there. So just something to keep in mind with this because. I don't know. Have you seen the J.K. Dobbins helmet gate?
Yes, we were talking about that before. I mean, do you think that's real or is Peyton trolling?
Maybe for the actual first snap start could have been something, but at the same time, he played on the first drive, so it wasn't like J.K. Dobbins didn't play. You know what I'm saying? He was out there, so I still think it's wheels up for Harvey, but Dobbins and Stevenson, I still think they're fine where they're going, going just a little bit ahead of those pure handcuffs. They could have some standalone value. I don't think Harvey's going to be this 20 carry, 5 target per game guy,
For sure. I did pull up the Best Ball Hub. This is one of the fun things, while you're drafting, go to the ADP. I click Gibbs and Allen just to see, hey, what do my teams look like? I actually only have these guys on one team together here, but then you could easily click it, go check it out, and see what the team looks like, what other kind of wide receivers you have on the team. It's pretty fun to review that stuff. All right, at 5-5, we're on the clock. Devontae's here. Waddle, Hunter, Flowers, if you have a flavor there. Chuba, if you want to go running back. What do you think?
Let's go Chuba.
We'll grab Chuba as our running back 2 here. Was been looking at his early season schedule. He should be able to get off to a fast start. Are you getting hyped on this Panthers offense in general?
I mean, the O-line last year, even Chuba was good enough. I mean, the fact that they are the most expensive group, they bring back, I believe, all 5 guys, could see that cohesion. And I mean, hey, Bryce, T-Mac, we at least now have a half season worth of sample of him not freaking sucking out here. So gave Chuba, I think, $33 million by the end of last year. I know Rico, again, another guy that had maybe a few more snaps with the first team than we were expecting, but I'm not too concerned. Again, just the overall pricing salary difference there. So, and then also on a half PPR side, someone like Chuba, I mean, I don't think it should shock anyone if he does finish as a low-end RB1. So, that team you just pulled up, I know all you guys, you want these freaking hyper fragile 4 RB builds with Miles Sanders, I think was your RB4 there. Maybe it works out. But yeah. I don't know, man. I'm evening up a little bit more at running backs and wide receivers than most. We'll find out in 5 short months if that was a good idea or not.
Yeah, I was pulling up my my Panthers exposure here. Big on Tedoroya, Sanders, and Bryce Young. A lot of Coker relative to his ADP. I thought we fixed this bug in Fantasy Life with the Rico Dowdle eye bug. Is that just going to be there?
I want to
forever?
keep it. I think
we should.
Let's go.
At this point, we just keep it. Chuba, yeah, I'm at 5.2%. I'm a little light Chuba there, mainly because I really like the wide receivers in this range, but I think he's set up for a really solid year. So I'm definitely good with it.
Look at Ridley going there, man. About time. I've been bugging Dwayne all freaking off season to spruce this dude's target projection up. We have him like a 115. He's going to have that by November, man.
Yeah. No, I like Ridley too. I mean, it's funny because Ridley and Chuba, those are my two favorite cheap offenses to target late, Titans and Panthers. And when I'm doing it, I like getting one of their premium guys as well when building that out, either Pollard or Ridley, Chuba or Tedoroy McMillan. So yeah, I'm with you. And his usage, right? Ridley's preseason usage was pretty insane.
Yeah. It's funny because it's such a small sample, but yeah, 43% target share. Seems like that's good.
Harvey goes. That would have been a fun slide there. Debo, Caleb Johnson, Juwan Jennings, Diggs, Judy, Myers. What do you like?
Well, Diggs.
Let's do it.
You been getting much Diggs? That's another guy.
Could
have a shit ton of targets.
Yeah, 7.4% Diggs. So I'm just slightly under, but I like him too. And the same thing, right? Where it's like you can set up those back stacks with May is pretty fun. Yeah.
Your favorite fantasy analyst's favorite late round pick. Every single guy I have on the Fantasy Life show is just hyping up Drake May. It's like my only hole I can point in is like everyone seems to love this guy and we can't have nice things as a fantasy community. So we'll see what happens, man. But yeah, Diggs hasn't finished worse than wide receiver 25 since Obama was in office. Wasn't washed last year. I had a schedule with the knee. Why not? Where do you fall with Travis Hunter? Because I know he went earlier, but I just want to get your thoughts because, I feel like the conversation has gotten to the point it's just annoying me because everyone's like, well, he's so talented. And meanwhile, I see the same people hyping up the same 5 or 6 wide receivers around him. Travis Hunter is really good. I think we all agree that the whole I was told Travis Hunter wasn't going to play offense thing reminds me that Steph Curry can't shoot stuff. It's always just been about the amount of offense he's going to play, So I don't know. He's going next to Odunze, Jalen Waddle. I don't consider them to be not talented out here. So I'm much more cool with this price. But when he was going top 24 for a bit, man, I was staying away.
Yeah, I mean, there was that point for sure where it had gotten frothy, but yeah, this seems like an awesome price to me. I do take Devontae and in Ridley over him, but I'm fully okay taking him ahead of Waddle in Rome. And again, too, I think the type of wide receiver room you're building makes sense. I like him in those more 0 RB, anchor RB starts where you can maybe withstand a little bit at the top. All right, we're back on the clock here. Caleb Johnson is the Shakir, are we worried at all about him or just get the stack?
I say let's just get the stack.
Yeah. Yeah, he had the ankle stuff, expected to be back for week 1. You are getting some discounts on him in rooms where people are spooked, but with Allen, we can go ahead and lock up that stack.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I know the Christian McCaffrey injuries of the world are the ones that stick out in our mind, but, for every CMC, I think there's more Josh Downs who have the August ankle injury and then they end up, being okay once they get into it. So another guy got paid. I mean, we all fully expect Khalil to lead this team in targets, at the end of the day, as long as he's good enough to go. So Khalil, maybe get some Keon Coleman coming back. I'm so ready to be hurt by Keon Coleman, man, but I'm just a sucker for these contested catch artists. And, you can do a little bit after the catch as well.
Yeah, and Coleman in the draft I just did before you came on, Coleman went ahead of Shakir. You are seeing that a little bit right now, which may be too much of an overreaction to the Shakir injury. Now that it sounds like he'll be back for week 1. Here's the team so far. We started Gibbs, we grabbed Ladd, and then Josh Allen. We come back and get J-Mo, Chuba Hubbard, Diggs, and Shakir. Any preseason nuggets that you're kind of really moving on or finding particularly actionable where you're kind of actually adjusting ranks or doing things differently?
I think the Marvin Mims full-time role is the best because it literally took until that wild card game for him to play even over 50% of the snaps. Even him coming on late, it was so gadgety. And we love gadget touches as long as they don't come like at the expense of an actual full-time role. So I don't know if he'll get the same RB usage now that they have Harvey. Maybe Evan Ingram is going to mix in with some of the screens, man. But Mims, again, he can go deep, and he's an all-pro returner. Like, we've seen sick returners like Miles Austin back in the day, seeing Rashid Shaheed do it too. Like, I think it's a pretty good sign if you're just a nasty returner and you start to get more usage at wide receiver. So I really believe in Mims, and it's just like we expect Sean Payton, Bo Nix, and this offense to put up pretty good numbers. And right now, I mean, you can make an argument he's going to be a number 2 target owner. So wasn't clicking him a lot where he was going, but I think I will a lot more now.
For sure. All right, we're about to pick in the 8th round. Had a decent amount of running backs coming off the board here. Keon Coleman does go. We're not going to get that slide.
Okay.
Jaden Higgins is here. Michael Pittman, if you want another wide receiver.
Do we take the slide with Mixon?
He's been going a lot cheaper than this.
Okay, that's cool.
Yep.
Let's go. I'm cool with Pittman.
Okay, let's get Pittman in here at the last second. Yeah, Mixon will go in the 100s these days. So this ADP is a little bit fake. But are you kind of thinking you want to take that plunge? I guess we just haven't heard anything for a while on what's really going on there.
Right, but I mean, it still sounds like week 1 is a realistic possibility for the guy. It's not ideal, but I feel like if we are, drafting at this point in August, like that's going to give us a nice little leg up off of 3-4 months of the field, going out before. So yeah, Hayden's been kind of over this too. Like it's not ideal. I don't love when they talk about my RB's injury being quote unquote frustrating. Like, that's not the verbiage I exactly want to be hearing out here. But at this point, a wide receiver, like, it was probably a good call to get another wide receiver there before that cliff really starts coming. But I was okay with that. So we can wait a little more. Is this about the point where we should maybe look at Drake May, or do we have maybe another round in this?
Yeah, that's a good question. His ADP is 111, and we pick at 101 and 116. So definitely, I don't know, it's probably only like a 30% chance he comes back to us if we wanted to try to push it.
Goff later too, so we could probably get one of the two.
Yep. Yeah, and we have Allen, so like we can push QB2 for sure.
Even if we have to get Daniel Jones's bum ass or something, we'll be okay.
All right, I lied to you. Mix and win. I thought I was going to be able to get that
for
you.
How about
Andrews, Etienne, Dobbins?
Etienne, unless we want tight end.
No, I'm good with
cool.
Yeah, let's push it because we could look at Kincaid with Allen, and I do like Andrews. I think he's a strong value, but man, what did you think about that Etienne preseason usage? Is it real, or are they showcasing him for a trade? That's what people tell me.
I think they were just probably went in saying, Travis, you're going to play the first drive. Tank, you're going to play the next 2 drives. But man, he got picked to be the first drive. So, I know Bigsby's been the one getting a lot of the love, and can't count out everyone's favorite late round sleeper Bashaw Tootin. But you do look at ETN, man. It's shout out Mike Renner, who actually pointed us out back at Clemson, even because his yards per carry fell off between his like junior and senior year, and it was almost directly like the difference between what the team was averaging before contact. So this Jags offense, I mean, again, if we want to, it's one of these things where it's like almost DeAndre Swift too. Like, we want to make all these excuses for Trevor Lawrence and Caleb Williams and these horrible systems without any good scheme going on, and then we get Ben Johnson, we get Liam Cohen, but like, we just don't give any credit for DeAndre Swift and Travis Etienne potentially also getting a nice bump with it. So look, I've mixed it up between Etienne, Bigsby. I'm taking some Bashaw Tootin, at the right price as well. But I think it's one of those things where the Cowboys backfield and the Jaguars backfield, like, once we actually know who the guy is, like, it's, once we're in week 8 or whatever it's going to be, like, they're probably going to be a consistent top 24 dude. So just try to leave every draft with one of them for now. Yeah.
That's exactly was my takeaway. I said I think it's one Jag running back in every draft now. Like, someone's going to smash from here. So we start Gibbs, Hubbard, and Etienne are our running backs. We got Ladd, J-Mo, Diggs, Shakir, and Pittman. Allen at quarterback. So doing good on all fronts other than setting up for a punt tight end team, but that's no big deal here for us. Real quick, shout out Mark Wolf, gifting 5 YouTube memberships. I had Mark on After Dark last week. Didn't even know my guy Mark was a pediatrician. I got to ask him questions about my toddler while drafting a fantasy team with him, and now he's giving memberships. What a good guy.
Let's go, Mark
Wolf here. Do you want to go Drake May if he's here? He is.
Yeah, let's do it, right?
I'm going to put it in the queue. Just make sure there's nothing I'm missing. I think we can try to push tight end back around.
Kincaid next.
Yeah, it would basically just be if we wanted to go Kincaid and then Goff and play for it. But let's get Drake May.
That's fine. Let's get Drake May.
It's the old Drake May, the original Drake May, Josh Allen, and now the new Drake May, or I don't know which way we want to flip that. Is Drake May going to be the new Josh Allen?
I don't quite know about that, but it is. I mean, again, he legit had more scramble yards than Lamar Jackson last year. Like, this dude just freaking loves to run. My comp for Drake May coming out was like if Justin Herbert shotgunned a 2-liter of Mountain Dew before every game. Like, he has that early career like Josh Allen like mentality, man. They're like, I might lateral to my fullback, in the middle of a wild card game type of stuff. So a lot of fun to watch. We already got the dig stack. We could get Hunter Henry later, I guess. Now we're going late.
Yeah.
Are you I was listening to the end of the Leone stream. So you said you are 4 tight end curious, as you put it.
Yeah, it does take a very specific room. I've only done it a couple of times, but I do think it's in certain situations it's in play. And now it's just become a bit. Yeah,
this is definitely if I get Josh or Lamar, Hurts or Jaden, one of the big 4, then I'm only going to go 2 QB. But I've been going 3 QB pretty much. After that, it depends on the team, obviously, but a lot of Ridley, or you get the Colts wide receivers like. The round, I'm just thinking of like a study right now. Like, I would think that quarterbacks drafted in like round 16, 17, 18 probably have like a higher percentage of returning value than any other position.
For sure. And I think the window's been pushed up a little bit this year, just because there's not as many good quarterbacks in 16, 17, 18, but there are a ton, in that 100 to 140 range. Can we get Kincaid to fall here?
Pretty sweet.
Yes,
yeah,
he did.
Let's go.
Beautiful. I was like looking for him. I was like, where are you? He was down here a
that
little
dude
bit.
That dude didn't have a tight end next to us. I was ready for it.
I know. I was scanning and I'm like, okay, Kraft goes to the love. That makes sense. And I'm like, oh no, he's going to do it to us. But no, we get Dalton Kincaid. So we get that double stack there with Allen, Shakir, and Kincaid. We get May stacked up with Diggs. This team's coming together, Ian.
I like it, man. You only take 1 wide receiver or 2 wide receiver in the first 5. Certainly it doesn't always work out, but I'm feeling pretty good through 11 or whatever. Yeah. There we go.
Yes, for sure. Let's see here now.
Where'd Henderson go? Are people just losing their minds here?
They are. You
know what's funny though? I will say that, like, obviously he's electric, dude. I got my Cardale jersey behind me. Go Buckeyes, Columbus lifer. Like, I love Travion, but I'm not brave enough to put it out there. Are you a little disappointed that his top speed on a kick return touchdown, you have every chance to open up the gates and run 100 yards? Couldn't beat out like Jordan Mason from last year. That's a little surprising to me.
It is. I guess I'd need to rewatch the tape. Did he need the full burners to get it done, or was he able to take
Maybe
his
just
foot
coasting
off the
from the
gas?
50 in?
It is funny, right? Because like you think about some of these backs, right? Like Bucky Irving isn't the fastest straight line runner in the league. Like, you're not drafting him to rip off 70-yard runs. You're drafting him because he's going to make guys miss in his So I do think, yeah, you want it all. You want him to be Gibbs, where they could run to daylight and make guys miss. But it's like, there's room for very successful running backs who aren't blazing,
For sure. And Hendo did look, I mean, he had a couple of catches too where he was making the first guy miss. He's got that tool in his bag as well. I don't know. Like, I was talking to Dwayne. Dwayne's like all in now, like mid. I'm going to have to freaking probably draft Henderson round 3 when I'm with Dwayne on some of these RT Sports streams we got coming up. And again, I have him. I moved him. I think he's like my RB 18 or something. So I'm ahead on him as well. I don't know. What we saw in week 1, I kind of thought was already on the table, but okay.
Putting a few options here. Buy the dip on Spears, Kyle Williams stacked up, Palmer stacked up, or Dylan Sampson. You like
Let's go Sampson.
Yeah. I click him all the time, man. At 140, I'm just not going to stop clicking Dylan Sampson.
I came away with him. I was in Canton for the Expo this week, and I got him in both of my Kings Classic drafts. Judkins, man. It was like 2 weeks ago. I was just like, the dude is not on a team, Pete. No. We can't just say 6-game suspension. He is not signed to a football team.
And and the thing that happens in these underdog drafts is anything with ambiguity is not priced in. It just is not priced in. If we announce that, like if you told the market, like Judkins, even he's going to miss 10 weeks, like let's just say it's like that. And there's a hope that he could come. Like Dylan Sampson's going to push to be like a top 100 pick. Like that's the kind of move Ford would be like in the 120s, 130s, I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm just going to keep clicking the shit out of Sampson at these prices.
And it takes a long, like you mentioned before with Mixon, it really takes a long, the auto drafts will, just get these dudes before they can fall too far. So
yeah,
I am with you there.
So here with the Patriots stuff, we could do Douglas or just get our guy Hunter Henry here as well, before we get shut out. Both available. Any other ideas?
I'm cool with either. I'll defer to you if you think we need a tight end here.
I always like getting the, if we're going late tight ends, getting both of them stacked up with the quarterbacks is always nice.
I've talked so much shit about Henry this offseason too, that like, I think he's about to 2023 Dalton Schultz me and like have a tight end 11 finish just out nowhere. So, he did have better numbers when May was under center specifically. I just can't get past the fact that this dude hasn't had 700 yards in a season his entire career. Like Cole Kmet got there with Justin Fields at one point, but not the best reason in the world to ignore the guy this late. So we got the stack. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, we get the stack there. And, when you go Kincaid Henry, everyone can be relieved. I'm no longer 4 tight end curious. At most I'm 3 tight end curious on this.
Get our boy Jawan later, man. I can't believe he still goes last round.
That's right. Ian, let people know about everything we got going on at Fantasy Life. Obviously, I had the Best Ball Hub going up. Tell people what promo code Ian can do for them over at Fantasy Life, all the utilization, all the goodness.
20% off our tier 1 or tier 2 package. Appreciate you guys if you do want to go ahead and do that. But yeah, man, again, just from the rankings, projections, obviously Dwayne's awesome utilization tools. Like I really do think that, for all your redraft and best ball purposes, we can be your one-stop shop here for all things fantasy football. But I know the rankings, especially, man, like I'm in so many just weird, like these days, like when I do join a new league, I want it to be something weird. So I'm in a 32 team league coming up. And then just again, some of these 3 flex, 2 quarterback plus another super flex or whatever, like just having the customizable rankings and like everything that our devs have done to be able to make that for you just really, really does come in handy for me personally. So also auction, man, I did an auction draft this weekend and just saying like, having our auction values, like literally I just hear a guy announced and just being able to kind of go quickly to our values depending on the format and just have that range. I'm not, oh my God, I'm not paying $1 over what it is, but you don't want to be that guy with like no idea about where, someone is pricing auction. So really do love all that. Okay.
You got, I think this is probably sitting out wide receiver, Brenton Strange, Garendo,
Let's go Eckler.
Austin. Yes. Well, I was hoping you'd say that.
Let's go.
I was hoping you. Let's get him. Our guy here, Austin Eckler. I've been doing a lot of stuff where it's like, it's not quite a hard and fast rule like the Jags, but one of Eckler or JCM in my drafts is like a goal for me right now.
Him and Eckler and Jalen Wright are my 2 most drafted running backs this year. So I know Wright got stuffed at the goal line a few times this weekend. Heard that from, a few hundred people over on Twitter. I'll say this though. I've always maintained, like, I think it's possible that Wright does have some flex standalone value. He's going behind the pure handcuffs. So I think Wright is the A-chain handcuff. So just purely on that, I think where he's going is fine. And the fact that he does, like Tyler Algier, Trey Benson, like I don't see these guys having nearly as good of a chance of Wright of actually carving out some standalone value. So, and if I'm wrong, I'll just do the thing where I'm like, oh, well, he was cheap anyway, right? As I just sink back into my hole and hope he
and we got the news today, Alexander Madison out for the season, which makes the Jalen Wright bet even cleaner there. All right. Wide receivers, maybe this could be like a Wan'Dale Robinson team. We're definitely kind of in the mishmash of all these guys being somewhat similar. We could get your guy Jalen Wright and kind of be done at running back, tight end.
I kind of like some of the last round RB value. So let's get some wide receivers while we still can. I'm cool with Wan'Dale. He actually, that was one. Yeah. What's up?
No. I was going to say the same thing. If there were any other wide receivers other than Wan'Dale that caught your eye.
No, I like him in this range. It's one of those things where, again, the numbers are so, I think, what was the stat I figured out? It was like, of all the players ever to catch 90 passes in the season, like every single one averaged at least 50 yards per game, and Wandale was at like 39. I mean, it really was bad, man. But, they're using him a little bit different already. He actually got some stuff down the field, and just Russ and Jackson, like them being better quarterbacks, which I think we all agree with. Like, it wouldn't be the craziest thing ever if they do lift Wandale. So Slayton's been, one of my top drafted dudes. So usually going more so that route. But I see the path for Wandale.
Yeah, and I just pulled up the the nugget from Dwayne's mega preseason usage column. He posted an 86% route participation. This is with obviously Neighbors and Slayton resting, so take that into account. But he called it a night. It's a crazy small sample, but worth noting. Robinson didn't play his typical role as the low A-dot slot. Worked from the slot only 38% of the time and notched a 12 A-dot with Wilson. He played 40% of the snaps in 2 wide receiver sets. I mean, that'd be pretty fun. And just the way Wilson plays, right? It's like moonball Wilson. Like if we're getting a few deep shots mixed in, that would be nice.
I will say, like, I sadly took like a day in May to watch every single Wandale reception. I will never get those 45 minutes back, but like, it's not so much against him. It was just like, he would get all these targets on 3rd and 10, and they'd like design a 3-yard route. So, I don't love that Brian Dable is back to probably do that same stuff again, but man, just again, a dude with proven 140 target upside going this late, like just that alone should make him viable enough. So.
All right, 2-5-6-2. We got Josh Allen and Drake May both stacked up with their tight ends, Kincaid and Henry. We also have them stacked up with a wide receiver each, Shakir and Diggs. So wide receiver 1, tight end 1, alpha stacks for the Bills in New England. Gibbs, Chuba, ETN, Dylan Sampson, Eckler at running back. The other wide receivers, Ladd, J-Mo, Pittman, and Wandale Robinson. I like how this team is coming together. You mentioned maybe liking some running back sleepers. I think we can basically go any direction here as far as running back, wide receiver.
Let's look at wide receiver right now.
Yeah. Pat Bryant, Pierce, Besh, Wilson, Hopkins, Slayton.
How about Hop?
Yeah.
Or Bryant? Your call.
I've been trying to chill a little bit on Bryant. Just like, obviously you mentioned the Mim stuff. Troy Franklin seems to be running ahead of him right now. And I just selected so much Pat Bryant at the beginning of the year that I'm trying to take my foot off the gas a little bit.
That's fair. Yeah, you got all the Troy Franklin last year, right? Sometimes these Broncos, they do work out, but other times not so much.
I'm kind of, are you excited at all about Franklin? I mean, he seems to be kind of sneaky based on some of this usage as well.
It was just funny, man. Like him and Nix had the worst quarterback wide receiver chemistry from former collegiate teammates that I could remember since Mason Rudolph and James Washington. Like it was just, Franklin was open quite a bit. Like when they did go for it, Nix would either miss them or then Franklin would just drop it. They only hit on like one of their 11 passes thrown 30 plus yards downfield. And it was the first drive of the playoff game. So he's still like Bryant isn't going to be the one taking that field stretcher role. So, I mean, if you are just looking for someone who can get you those one hitter quitter 60-yard touchdowns randomly, I still do think Franklin probably profiles as that guy. So I just thought Hop, it is the Ravens. And, I don't know if he's washed just yet. We knew he had that knee injury last year. And, I'm not saying I've gotten a ton of Hopkins again, usually Slayton in that Spear, but between Hop and Yoshi Voss and Darius Slayton, one of those guys is going to be all right.
We got 2 more picks. I think it's kind of deciding which one are we going to stay pat at 5 running back, 7 wide receivers, or 2 tight ends. We are about to be on the clock.
Let's get one more tight end. How about Juwan?
Juwan? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. What is Fannin doing going?
Hey, welcome to the stream rooms, buddy. This is where we get the Harold Fannin. Harold Fannin, who got the he's getting the ship chasing clip treatment this year.
His mom was at the Expo.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, someone was like, "Can they throw your son the ball? I got him in DFS right now."
That is so funny. Yeah, I heard Kitchen and JJ talking about that. How was the Expo? Was it a good time?
Oh, it was fun, man. They're moving it to July, end of July next year, which is awesome because it's always like, kind of really starting getting into things.
It's always my anniversary weekend, and I'm just like, I can't swing that.
It's funny though, because like I live in Columbus, and so it's just a 2-hour drive for me. But a lot of times, a lot of my family would get together. My grandparents in Cleveland the same weekend, and they give me a hard time a little bit. But then the local news in Cleveland one time like covered the Expo, and like my grandma and grandpa afterwards were like, "Oh, you're going to that. This is a big deal. And it's like,
That's so funny.
Finally, I got the local news bump for the 90-year-old grandparents. Gotta love it. I made it.
This, speaking of your last name, I mean, I guess we can just do this for the people. A guy with an I think you should leave Avi wants to know, is your last name really Hartitz? Is this just a bit, Ian? Is this a bit?
32-year bit. No, it is Hartitz. I was actually called from middle school through college Tits. I had 3 different school changes and just didn't know anyone, and every single time it just got right back to Tits. So people usually call me Ian now, which is a nice change of pace. But, if you guys want to just go back to the Tits thing, that's fine. It is wild to have in your last name and then like hard right before it, Certainly had to get used to being having a sense of humor early on, Pete. That's what that last name does for you.
For sure. For sure. I, as a guy who got some millimeter Peter, I used to get Overzet, like ZIT zit on the face, so we've all been there. Ian, we're going to land this plane 18th round selection. You said, is your sleeper running back still on the board?
Is Ollie Gordon here?
Ooh, let's check. No, he's gone. Fuck. Rico, Sanders, Justice Hill, Quorum, Jarquez, Hunter.
Cue up Quorum.
Let's do it.
That's the whole man. Maybe Jarquez Hunter is awesome. Like, I'm not trying to take away with it, but damn it, Pete. Every single rookie running back has 30 truthers out here. And it's just like, I think Kyron's going to be the guy. I think they like Quorum as well. And at least based on what we saw in that first one, man, seems like Quorum's the next man up. So this offense, though, man, like, McVay has never rotated running backs, like even from Gurley to CJ Anderson, like Darrell Henderson, Cam Akers. And I even ran it last year. Like, just nobody is close to the Rams when it comes to leaving one running back on the field. So again, like Jarquez Hunter seems like he's explosive. I've seen the clips, like the dude's nice and everything, but kind of McVay has his guys who he likes, and that matters more than what we like,
Yeah, and the way I've been thinking about it is that Quorum is like the clear handcuff to Kyron. Like, if Kyron went down, I'd fully expect Quorum to get the most work. Jarquez, I think, is the better bet for some like early standalone touches where it's just like, hey, he's really explosive. Let's give him 5 to 7 touches a game, see what he can do in space, stuff like that. So that's kind of like, obviously Hunter is the more exciting, but I do think like if Kyron was just out and just vanished tomorrow, I think it would look a lot like how this split looked last night or over the weekend. 59% of the snaps for Quorum, 64% of the rush attempts, and then they split kind of routes there. But Quorum actually had him in targets as well. So yeah, I think it's a good note there to still be mixing in Quorum at the end of drafts.
That was one of my just I think I've done a better job avoiding that, but just drafting Quorum last year, him and Marshawn Lloyd just giving me those zeros in freaking round 11 or whenever they were going. So just, again, I like someone like, because Quorum could still be a 0 this year for sure, but at least in round 18, man, you're like, you can stomach it a little bit easier, I feel like. So if you don't have any path to like standalone value, man, it's just, but then, God forbid something happens to Bijan Robinson, you just need Tyler Algier. So it goes both ways.
Let's get the final recap of this team at 2-6-7-3. Big team bets on the Bills and the Patriots. Josh Allen, Drake May, Jahmyr Gibbs, Chuba Hubbard, Travis Etienne, Dylan Sampson, Austin Eckler, and Blake Corum. Wide receivers, Ladd, J-Mo, Stephon Diggs, Khalil Shakir, Michael Pittman, Wan'Dale Robinson, and DeAndre Hopkins. And then the 3 tight ends, Dalton Kincaid, Hunter Henry, and Jawan Johnson. How do we do, Ian?
I feel good about it. Maybe the comments are ripping us up, but I appreciate you guys either way. Been fun coming on some best ball breakfast. I still got like my 5th cup of coffee going on here, but yeah, man, I like it. I don't think there's really any picks that I have too much regret over. So maybe famous last words there, but I like the way it came together, man.
I did too. I liked it a good bit there. It's always fun to be able to get like, one rookie wide receiver in there, but we do get Dylan Sampson at a nice price. And like I said, I anytime, I don't know if it's just like my OCD brain, but anytime the quarterbacks are stacked up with their tight ends, it always feels nice to me because they're gonna come along for the ride if those guys crush.
Sure, 10 plus touchdowns for Henry, Kincaid, and Jawan this year. Who says no?
Certainly not me. what have you thought about? Like, what are your in-season content stuff going to be? What articles can people look forward to this year?
Yeah, I'm doing early rankings is going to be out like on Tuesday, and I'll still have like, some sheesh related things inside. It's going to be, rankings, but more so breaking down what just happened, the week before and kind of how we're adjusting that. So rankings and goodness on Tuesday, I'm going to have like my 10 things to look ahead, handcuff index, strength of schedule, some cool shit like that coming out on Thursday. And then my mismatch manifesto, some of the biggest mismatches on both sides of the ball, most likely coming Friday. Maybe I try to squeeze out Thursday, but that's the most annoying thing, Pete. We got that one Thursday night game, and it's like, oh, now I need to get all this content done before this. So we'll see what happens there. Otherwise, the Fantasy Life show, obviously, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you guys will listen to that. Sunday nights with Mr. Dwayne McFarland, and then Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern. I got Friday and Saturday off this year, Pete. Bad season to be a Kona Big Wave, all I'm saying.
Wow. Yeah, dude. I had one of those over the weekend for you. Anytime I had a Kona coffee and a Kona Big Wave draft there. So yeah, thank you for drafting.
One of the scariest, because I'm like probably about 210. I was like asking, I don't ask Grok every single thing of my freaking life in the comments like some people out there, but I was asking one day, I was like, what's like, a few things I can change, if I wanted to lose like 20, 25 pounds the next like couple years, like just daily habits. And I was like, I don't really want to adjust my drinking right now, but like, let's just talk about other stuff. And it was like, well, if you're doing light beer, like that's better than what it could be otherwise. And like the scariest 10 seconds, I was like, do you consider Kona Big Wave to be light beer? And Grok says yes, so it's good enough for me.
Yes, Grok. You were just gonna keep asking until he actually agreed with your reading here.
I'm canceling my Twitter subscription right now, Grok, unless you tell me what I want to hear.
That's so funny. Yes. So check out Fantasy Life Plus, all the stuff with the Best Ball Hub tool that you guys saw here, all the utilization stuff, all the league sync stuff. If you're doing a bunch of drafts here, it's going to be your main hub for managing all of it, waiver recommendations, ranks. It's going to make everything with in-season management easy there. Go sign up, use promo code Ian, use promo code P. It really doesn't matter. Just join us over at Fantasy Life.
If you keep entering in random names, you might end up getting more than 20%. Who knows?
That is right. And then for me, like I said, I have a video that I literally just pressed go live on the Deposit Kingdom channel. It's called I Tested All 5 BBM Winning Strategies. Here's what works in 2025. Really fun video featuring 5 edited drafts, me trying to replicate, Ian, what the winners had done and seeing like what kind of lines up with this current ADP landscape.
Nice, man.
So you can check that out. And yeah, we'll be back for the usual slate of shows this week, off and on the clock with the Badge Bros, and Swolecast tomorrow, Best Ball Bash and Randomizer. Ian, I don't know if you heard. So the randomizer this week is going to be Davis hosting as me and me guesting as Davis. That is
whoa
the randomizer. So that will be
amazing.
That will be very fun. And yeah, so all of the good stuff.
Hey, real quick while I have you here,
yeah,
Pete, I'm not, obviously love Davis. I'm not tuning in. Did we ever actually get an official response from Davis on the diss track, or is he still hiding?
No, I think he is still hiding, but here's the thing. Oh my gosh. Someone is working on the 2025 Best Ball Bros video, the annual video, and maybe someone will have to write a diss track in response for him. Maybe just a potential spoiler. Who knows?
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe. Love it.
All right. Appreciate all of you guys hanging out. Thank you to producer Mark in the hopper helping out here. Thank you to Ian at Fantasy Life, Leone, and Kerrane, obviously. Always love doing this shows. Happy drafting, and we'll see you guys next time on Best Ball Breakfast. Peace.